All right, is everybody all seated and ready? All right, excellent. So, we are going to get started with the Maker Talk, and our moderator today is Garfelsnark, aka Styx, an award-winning artist who is also the one of the directors on the board for Creator Jam, and he will be moderating today and introducing us to our presenters. So without further ado, let's begin.
Introducing Out of the Dark and the creators behind it. This ambitious narrative adventure was built in a month by only 2 people. Nix is a professional 3D printer and prototyping specialist with a background in anthropology and makerspace management. He's been part of Resonite for just over 2 years, and in that time has served as an active part of the Creator Jam volunteer asset gathering team, a founder of the Open Sorcerers creative team, and has helped to create several immersive social and event worlds. In Out of the Dark, he acted as lead on art direction, environmental design, and original modeling. Ryn is a professional IT wizard who dropped out of college and never let it hold back his career. He's been around the platform for about 4 years and has gotten heavily involved in the community as a mentor, moderator, and recent member of the Open Sorcerers. This self-taught is responsible for all the coding, writing, audio, and lighting in the project. And now, without further ado, the creators of Out of the Dark. Take it away, you guys.
I'm Nix. I'm Ryn.
I'm Ryn.
And yeah, thank you so much for being here today. We've got some really fun things to show you. We're going to go under the hood with the presentation that we built. And we've decided to really kind of focus on the practical insights, which might help you in your own creations as you see what makes us tick and the things you might not have seen that, made it get it on its feet.
And so to start with, let's show you a little teaser of what we built so you know what we're talking about in the first place. Next.
Yeah, the player can be a little persnickety sometimes. So let's see what we can do.
It's going now.
Oh, cool. Yes, wonderful. All right, so just a little look for anyone that hasn't played the map before. We're going to try and keep it spoiler-free because this thing is really best experienced kind of going in blind because it's all about the discovery at its heart. So there's a little peek inside the map. And without further ado, hand it to Ryn.
All right, so we're going to start by talking kind of project high level. Like, how did this come to be? How did we get it all together? And how did we work in a way that got us to the finish line? Because my biggest problem as a creator prior to making this, and I know a lot of people share this, is how do I actually finish a thing that I start? How do I go from idea to here it is, it's out the door and I'm done with it? That's hard. And what we really found when we started this project, we didn't initially set out to make a narrative. We were going to make a creation tool suite that helps you save and manage projects and have all your favorite tools on hand. And we started talking about how we were going to implement it, and it sounded like work, like a lot of work. And we weren't really going to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I think we had in our minds we're going to make a karaoke world for one, which was delightful fun for me as I got to make, a Red Rocks amphitheater style stage. And Ryn would have the unlovely task of working the same way you work at work, delving into audio system and code and really crunchy things. And I remember you kind of posed the question, what are we going to want to look back on in 5 years and say we have done? Or what do we want to share with our friends and family? And that really is what, at the end, drove us to dive into something that I think was not what we thought we could or would do, but I'm really glad that we did.
Yeah, we saw the narrative category, and I remember saying, that sounds difficult. How do you make an entire narrative in a month with 2 people? That's crazy. And then we talked about it for 20 minutes straight, having the time of our life figuring it out. And when we sat down and looked at all our options, we realized that chasing the fun was going to get us somewhere instead of burning out and giving up. And that held true all the way through. Like, we worked Friday at minimum on top of our normal jobs, plus like 10 plus hours on the weekends all month. And it never felt like work. I was having the time of my life the whole time because we were doing something fun, challenging, engaging the whole time. So along those notes and that time we spent, do you want to say something real quick?
Yeah. I think that if there's any like secret to like making a lot of things work, I found this in my work with like maker spaces where like play was learning, and we kind of forget to do that, especially as adults. To have non-directed, exploratory, just like interesting fun. And I think that is also really key to a lot of the projects. Everything I've done that's worth a darn on Resonite has just been play, first and foremost. And so I think keep that in mind in your own projects, to really delve into what inspires you, because you really can't keep up the energy if it's not something that intrinsically just fills you with that energy.
So you've got your fun idea, you're excited about it. Now let's talk how to actually get it over the finish line. There's a couple of basic project management concepts, and you could probably just look these up and be similar to what I'm talking about, so I won't spend too much time on them. But learning how to set an attainable scope, timeline. When we set out to make this map, we said 2 weeks. We're going to have the whole thing like prototyped and ready in 2 weeks. And then we're going to spend a week polishing and a week for just play testing and making sure everything's fine. We didn't make that timeline. We didn't make that timeline at all.
Not even close.
Keeping that aggressive, like, we need to have time to play test in our heads from the beginning, kept us moving, kept us going, had us scrapping ideas and focusing on getting it over the finish line instead of getting lost in eternal scope creep. Because there was so much scope creep we wanted to do, but there just isn't time in a month to do everything you want. So you need to pick what's most important to you, zero in on that, and get something playable and complete. Even if there's more you want to add to it, get it to usable first, foremost, above all else. In the industry, that's called minimal viable product, or MVP. And repeat those words a lot as you work. Say, is this MVP? What do we need to do to get to MVP and get there? And
yeah, and any project like this too, I would say, yeah, I mean, really, especially for MMC type things, like you should start small and focus and polish. I thought like we've got like 4 rooms and a couple transitions. How hard can that be? But our map was absolutely bursting at the seams, and we actually dropped a lot of balls. And I think on the tour we'll go through all of our greatest, massive failures through it. We just barely got across the finish line. So something we would have done better to do, and I'd advise anyone, is like keep it even smaller than you think, because you can polish it infinitely, but if you're a little over scoped, you're never going to close it out in a way that really works.
Agreed. And on top of that, leave time for play testing. Like, if I have one big regret working on this, I wish we had done more play testing. There were some really low-hanging fruit things that we, as the people who like lived and breathed in this map the whole time, didn't notice immediately when we were zooming through to make sure it was all buttoned up. That if we just had like 1 or 2 people run through, we would have caught and fixed, and it would have been great. All right. Before we spend more time talking about the world, why don't we go there so we get a better feel for it?
Yeah, so hold on to your seats. This is perfectly safe. I promise you. Do not be alarmed.
Welcome to Out of the Dark. So one of the first things that you might notice in here is that the audio has changed. First of all, there's a subtle background track just kind of giving that kind of spooky, windy cave ambience. And on top of that, another effect I'm using here is reverb. I think reverb zones and reverb in general gets a little bit of a bad rap because I think a lot of people who first use it overuse it. It's really obvious. Anything you want to say on audio?
No, it's just, I think, a point that Sticks here kind of made to me once, I've never forgot, is just even silent areas aren't really silent ever. And there's a lot of value to be made in a place that is ostensibly silent, but, you know, if you put in just a small amount of brown noise or anything interesting, I mean, the mind perceives it without noticing. Your audience might not think it's loud. You know, there are parts of, say, Liminal that I thought had no sound, but when I was called to listen closer, there was an absolute lot going on. And so I think that hits the subconscious. And it's always worth thinking about, you know, in all things. And one of our principles was really focus on the subtle stuff. You know, things that might never be noticed consciously, but I feel like when we A/B test them on and off, it makes a difference.
Completely agree.
Sweat the small stuff in some ways. Do you have a way to turn off this fire, by the way?
Yeah, I do.
I forget how we reset this beautiful guy here. And we'll show you a little
right
bit
here.
about, you know, applying that principle with the lighting. Very much, you know, Ryn spent quite a bit of thought in making the firelight especially kind of layered and interesting.
So we'll call in
So
a
we take
friend
a look
here
at
for
this
some
one.
help. So a big part of Out of the Dark is the dark. If you look around, you'll notice it is pitch black in here. And this was a really fascinating opportunity as a designer to really steer the player's vision, thoughts, experience wherever we wanted them, because anything that we did not expressly light up with a light source didn't exist. And it kind of came as an accident along the way, was this little guy. Using a floating light that the player can control really opened up a lot of doors for how the player can explore and interact with the environment and kind of push their vision a little further than they might have if they were just holding a torch.
And I
As
personally
well
just love
as-
the sense of play of light going through a complex, like, diorama. And we kind of, like, a lot of different elements kind of have the synergy here that all kind of come together. The rounded shapes, the fact there are no hard edges, and basically the entire map really work with, like, sending light through space.
In addition to that, it also gave us a new way for the player to interact with the environment. Your little friend here is a spark bug and naturally a little flammable. And so he can help you light up the environment as you go and sort of shape the world by your actions. And so while it starts out initially quite dark, you get to light it up and see your impact on the world. I'm gonna send this guy home for now. That way there we can focus on other things. Don't need too many lights. And when we're talking about light, let's talk about the technical back end of it. Yes, perfect. So this light here, this firelight, is actually primarily one spotlight and one tiny little point light that's not really doing a whole lot. And it's crazy performant for how much of an impact it has on the scene. So what I'm doing here is we have a single light, it's a spotlight, and I'm just driving dang near everything about it. We've got wobblers, wobblers, wobbler, 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 and a value gradient driver with a wobbler on it. And all a wobbler is doing is just taking any of these numbers and running them between 2 points in a kind of random fashion. And what that does for us is if you look down here by my feet at kind of the edge of the firelight, this is the angle of the spotlight as it's wiggling back and forth. You can see the intensity and the color of it shifting slightly. And all these sort of add up to create this really nice, natural, random campfire effect. The only other light that's here is very tiny and doing almost nothing to our performance because it's small. Is that way up in here, there's a little spotlight a point light, just to light up the inside of this, because otherwise it's pitch black, which doesn't make any sense when there's a fire 6 inches from it. Another cool thing we did with lighting, and this actually will be easier to see, do you still have the means to turn off that light? Right there, give me that. Perfect. If we talk about the torches in the world, we did another really cool trick with those. Yes, Nix?
No, mistake.
Oh, okay. We did another really cool trick with these for performance and immersion. These, like the big campfire there, are being wiggled and wobbled and rotated and all that cool stuff. But I also used a new technology for me called a light cookie. And a light cookie is basically a texture that you put on top of a light to shape and shadow it a little bit. So this light here is not casting shadows. Shadows are really computationally expensive. They're one of the biggest hits to your performance and frame rate, so anywhere you can not use them is great. And we have a lot of torches in this world. And so what I did instead is put a light cookie on this. Now if you watch, it might be a little hard to see, but it gets a little easier as I spin it. The black bars moving around that look like the grates on this, that's just a light cookie. That's just a texture applied on top of the light. This thing is not casting shadows at all.
Oh, cool.
And the way I generated this was also really cool. I'd never done this before. Shout out to Red Dragon, who I think is in the audience, for teaching me this trick. As I took this torch into Blender, I put a point light in it, and then I put a box around it. And then I told Blender to make the texture of the box the shadows cast from that light. The internet can explain how to do that better than I can right now, but it wasn't hard at all. And what I ended up with was a perfect representation of the shadows that this light casts as a light cookie. And here's the light cookie itself, actually. It's just a sphere. Really, it's a cube. Hard to explain, but it is a cube, even if it's a sphere.
It identifies as a cube.
It identifies as a cube. It's because it's 6 images that are then stacked into a cube, like unfolding a box. And that creates a spherical representation of the light. And yeah, that's just the shadow from the light superimposed over it. Super awesome trick. Highly recommend if you've got worlds where shadows are really worlds or lights where shadows are important, but you don't actually want to cast shadows because they hurt your frame rate. Put that back in our little hidden pocket here. It's too big.
All right, and then anything more on that, or?
No, let's go ahead and turn the light back on, which I already sent our firefly away. Let me fetch a new friend.
That's all right. And so, yeah, very much like light cookies too, like another way to really squeeze some performance in a lot of games is to focus a lot on your normal map. So I've got some good examples of that. First, I'll kind of show you a lot of the modeling, pretty much everything you see here for a start, it's hand modeled by myself. And I used a fun technique, which was kind of VR voxel sculpting. So with Adobe Substance Modeler, you can actually drop it into VR and get a lump of clay in front of you and shape it using your own hands. And so this is something I really leaned into because it creates really unlike a lot of what you see in Blender and traditional surface mesh modeling. And it's really fun, it's intuitive, and you don't need a 4-year Blender degree to do it. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what that looks like in practice. And you'll kind of notice as you go through, we want to make sure everything looked good in the dark. That's very difficult. Part of that was making everything a specular texture. And, all right, fingers crossed, y'all. Let's see if this works. So this will just be a fly through. This was kind of like a 10-minute tree sculpt I did just a couple other, the other day. It's not perfect, but I think part of my point is that it doesn't need to be. You can start really rough and it will still work out. It's not playing for me yet. I hope it is for you guys.
Not yet.
Yes, no?
No.
All right, fingers crossed. YTDLP is always a little bit funny sometimes, especially when you're doing a presentation.
The projector never
Give that a minute or two. But what this allows you to do is very organic shapes, especially, so cave terrain and trees are absolutely perfect for this sort of fake clay-based technique. Okay.
Oh, there it goes.
Here we are.
Okay.
It's going?
Yes. Do I
Awesome.
dare scrub back to the beginning?
No.
I'll let it go. So, I've put really ugly, rough shapes in at this point. It's just a bunch of circles down in a line and a couple roots. But, you can use it, you can stretch it like elastic here, for example, which I use to kind of give a little bit of gnarly warpedness to a lot of the trees. This kind of shrinks and subtracts clay in a sort of way. And so I found that was really good at getting kind of the ridges of trees. And I'd kind of alternate between, I'm shaving some stuff off. I'll use kind of like an inflate tool to make everything kind of bulge out and knobbly. And then certain parts I'll cull back down by deflating it. And kind of just going through this process is how I made every single tree that's in Out of the Dark here. These trees over here, for example, are exactly like this. And you go through, you can smooth it, and then, pretty soon I'm going to get kind of an elastic tool, and it lets you actually kind of like tease out roots right there. So you can see as I kind of take this template I've made so far and just start like smushing it out, undoing when it doesn't work, and then just kind of like messing with it until it looks good, I think my process is just I look at things that look bad and I keep hammering at them until maybe they don't look bad anymore and I can move on. So it's very approachable. I think, a lot of people can do this because it's very intuitive and you just kind of find techniques. My thing has always been kind of leveraging and leaning into what works well with a different type of medium or approach. And especially for this, the rounded shapes, the organic feel. Let me hit something that I haven't seen a lot in VR before. And yeah, just like that, there you go. You've got your tree. And this is how I made, everything, which are all, by the way, Creative Commons licensed. They're all downstairs in the gift shop. Before you leave, please be sure to go and pick up all these building blocks. They're there to be remixed and used for anyone's projects. And one of the fun things, I didn't stop there. The next thing that I thought really was like a technique over talent that I landed on was to do a little bit of like virtual lumberjacking. So let me show you what that looks like here. All right, playing for you guys, good?
Yep.
Beautiful. All
First
right.
try, nice.
So I didn't stop at that. I put together, once I got these trees, I took them and I took some Boolean tools and I chopped them right down. So by actually going in and taking slices of these trees, I was able to pull out the boards that most of the world is built out of as well. And like, look at this. I'm not talented enough to make something like this, but by growing the tree first and then cutting it down, it landed on these beautiful edges. Like this, maybe you can't replicate that simply starting from scratch. And so this is one of the hacks that I felt really punched above my weight class. That's the sort of thing I'd encourage everyone to look at too. Like there are certain ways you can approach things that, I don't know, there's always fun ways to approach it. And I didn't even stop there. I turned that into a bunch of furniture you may have seen in the world, like these flatter root pieces eventually became this lovely live edge wood table that you also can take home tonight for the low price of, saving the pallets downstairs. So yeah, just taking these slices and painting them up, created a lot of the assets we have in the map. So I encourage you to think out of the box because there are, approaches like, forgive me, that's parented. All right.
You too could be a digital lumberjack.
Okay.
Roars. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, this one too. Like I took it, chopped it up, and each one of these planks is from one of those. So another lovely piece of furniture. Take it home with you today. Do you have anything you want to say on that, Ryn?
No, keep going.
All right. Now, yeah, with sculpting, let's see. Another trick the wonderful Red Dragon kind of opened our eyes to and that we learned for this MMC was all the magics you can do for optimizing things with normal maps. So, normal maps are the kind of encoded texture that you put on an asset and it kind of tells the renderer how light falls on it. I think. I don't know. I'm not really an expert. That's probably wrong.
That's about right. The RGB data on it is basically taking directional data from light and explaining to the computer how much it's affected by it. And so you can take a two-dimensional texture and make it affected by 3D light, and that's all a normal map is doing. And Nix has a pretty awesome example of that.
Nothing on my sleeves, just a normal 2D quad. But because I took this into Blender and I took the actual tree and baked it into a normal map I could put on it, you get a lovely effect where if I move a light around it, it looks strangely three-dimensional. And we had to do a lot of thinking about I wanted to put maybe 10,000 trees somewhere, and so that's going to break the engine. And so we were kind of investigating tricks like this. And, we found if you set this back just a little ways, you can barely, it sinks in believably enough, especially if you don't have it directly lit like that.
Yeah, if you pull that light back a bit, it'll blend. And like that, it's a tree.
Looks tree-like to me.
For the low cost of a quad. Can I snipe that firefly? Oh, he's attached. That's so convenient.
Right. And then let me just steal a tree right here quick. All right.
Oh, my.
No, it's fine. No trees were harmed in the filming of this, so don't you worry. I'm going to talk a little bit about texture tweaking. One of the key things that really comes out in dark maps, and something I do with everything always, is just remember that you can tweak the textures in all sorts of ways. And you're almost always benefiting from cracking open your texture and having a look in the insides, because one texture is 10,000 textures, right? If you look at it just close enough, there's always ways you can pop up with color, change it to your needs. If you've got a toxic forest, there's lots of fun tweaking you can do in that. In Resonite specifically, to make things really pop in the dark, we found we wanted to make everything to a specular texture. So it doesn't have any of the kind of sheen to it. It's really kind of matte and dry. And that was step one to making stuff look good. But similarly to our 2D image, you can also go ahead and bake yourself extremely high poly models onto a normal. So I would have 200,000 polygons, tree models, but I can't do that to the players. So I would decimate it down to 5,000 polygons, and then you can use Blender or Adobe Substance Painter to actually take your extremely high poly model, take all of that geometric data, and change it into a normal map that you can throw onto the tree. So that this guy is sitting at 500 polygons, but it's got a lot more character than that. So if I kind of clear the normal map, we look at this is with the normal, and then without. So with and without. And there's quite a bit, if I change the scale, we can see a little bit more of what it's doing at a very extreme broken area, and completely without.
Crunchy.
So that's something I'd look at all your maps. Making the normal maps really look good can chase out some of the ghosts, and baking together a complicated normal onto a simple thing is a really good hack to get some performance out of your map and not hurt everybody's VRAM.
Works on avatars too.
And yeah, the last thought with sculpting, really, I think just a general lesson was I was inspired by John Darnielle of the Mountain Goats, who's talking about their songwriting process. And, when they're on a roll, they kind of suggest, don't sit on your laurels, see if there's another one in the tank. And I think in the project, for example, one of my very favorite models, this little tablet here, I had half an hour before I had to go to bed. And I had the choice, I could be, just lounge, or, I could push myself just a little bit more. And kind of following the discipline we tried to instill ourselves for MMC, where we kind of agreed to have no 0 days and just we were in it. So I went back to the computer, and about half an hour or less, I spawned a wood from this little guy that had been a real sticking point for the project. I didn't know how we were going to make a good looking tablet that fit the visual style, but this just kind of popped out. So I'd say always check if there's another one in the tank. When you're on a roll, try to keep it going, push yourself a little more, because you never know what things are waiting to be born. And with that, you'd pass it over to Ryn.
All right, yeah, we'll step away from the visual side a bit, and since this is a narrative, we'll talk about the storytelling. Are we done with this image?
Yes, absolutely.
Slide that away. We'll talk about the storytelling a bit. One of the things that we decided really early on in our story was that I am a big fan of games that tell the story through environmental storytelling. And don't necessarily exposition at the player. You don't have a ton of NPCs telling you the lore of the land and what quest you're on and what exactly is happening. You kind of have to wander around and peer through the cracks and take in the context clues and figure it out for yourself. Big inspirations for me are Dark Souls, Outer Wilds. Those are the big ones for this map, honestly. This whole area you're seeing right here, very Dark Souls inspired. Campfire on a cliff top, lots of verticality. That was like the very first image we spun up when we were drawing out how we wanted to do this world. So in that line, another thing that we realized early was that while we had an idea of the whole storyline and what was happening and why everything was here, I didn't want to tell the player that. Some players may never understand the full story of Out of the Dark, and I'm okay with that. Because the story that they make in their heads is far more interesting than anything that I could come up with, because it's going to be personal to them. The human mind is amazing at filling in details. If you give just enough to hint at things and leave people guessing and kind of make their mind race, they'll do the work for you. Don't be afraid to keep it light and trust the players to figure it out and have fun coming up with a story along the way. There is a story. It's there to be discovered and figured out, and we have had people piece the whole thing together. But you might not necessarily, and that's okay. Chekhov's gun states that if you're writing a play and in the first act there's a gun hung above the mantelpiece, that gun needs to go off in like Act 3. Because otherwise, why was it there? It's a wasted detail that's pulling away from the story you're telling. And we really leaned into that here, where anytime a mechanic or a piece of the world, or really just any element, felt like it was kind of just there to be there and wasn't calling back at a later point or adding something to the story, the world, the immersion, anything, we trimmed it, because Chekhov's gun. We said that word a lot. And as a bonus, since we were already talking about story and narrative, another one of the interesting problems I got to solve was all of our dialogue comes in the form of text. And this is a social VR game, and not everybody's going to want to huddle around and read one little note. So early on, I knew I needed to make some solution for that. So I made a system that whenever you pick up a note, you get some floating text that everyone can kind of gather around and read, or I recommend having a group reader. It's always fun to get to use your storytelling voice. Just neat things to think about when you're trying to make a narrative that's meant to be multiplayer. That came with a number of challenges now that I think about it, and just how do you keep people synced up and working on the same thing? For our world, especially given the time constraints, we kind of left most people to manage that themselves. If you've got one jerk in your group running ahead of everyone else, shame them. Take it back.
Yeah, it really fits with, like, I think, like most artists, one of the things they really just want is for people to pay attention. So we really wanted to be respectful, and if you're paying attention, we want it to pay off. So we tried to make sure, nothing was meaningless filler, ultimately. So back to optimizations, I want to kind of show you, because our world was very big, it was absolutely massive. I don't think we have anywhere in the script to talk about, like, this is 1.7 kilometers wide, our full map, and so you run into floating point areas, all type of things. And especially these chambers were an unreasonable amount of polygons. I've never been an optimized person.
This is the chamber we're in right now, for the record.
Yeah, this right here is that little outlook with campfire and everything. So you can kind of see how it looks without its textures. And moreover, what I'm showing you here is what it looks like as I take the major sculpt and kind of chunk it out into places that you're going to walk, which is the solid white. We've got the entrance platform, and then there's the caves over here, and there's everything else. And for the sake of optimization, everything else was a completely separate mesh that we booleaned out of it and took all the character colliders off of. So we kind of put a lot of thought into making sure that we could get big, complicated assets, but when it matters, things like character colliders are very computationally expensive. And so in a lot of ways, I'd encourage people to think about that as they build out their creations. And that's why you can squeeze a lot more performance out of something and do things that otherwise would cause people's computers to chug. Yeah, let's see, there's that. And then, related, for example, oh, cool. Okay, this stuff is saved. Love it. Okay, here we are. So, I'm grabbing this down from the trees. You might recognize this. This is one of the central platforms that a lot of, the different cities are built on. And so this thing is also absurdly high polygon. I think, come again?
Oh, you said you can see the rings
Oh
up
yeah,
there.
just it's kind of placed up there, so you can see it's absolutely huge. And so I want this to have all of the different polygons. It's got these lovely edges. It's hard to cheat on it, but all said, this is something like 40,000 polygons, which is kind of a deeply irresponsible amount of polygons for anyone to have. But the way we approached that was, if I just prop this up here, I'll give you a look inside. So we've got this. It's 40,000 polygons, but it is only a mesh renderer. It is not a mesh collider. In order to give the player a sense of kind of the bumpiness without making them render all of those collisions, I put on a separate, I think it's about a 5 polygon thing. One second, crunching here. All right, let me bring out here. This is a visualization of the number of polygons on the thing you actually walk on. And this is what's enabled so that your computer doesn't have a conniption. We can actually go back to the visual and I'll show you. Let's pop a wireframe material on this mesh. As you can see, the
difference between what you're walking on and what you're seeing.
Yeah, visuals, what you actually walk on. And, there's also lots of things. We don't want people to, actually be falling through the cracks, because as you mentioned, it looks kind of like a horror map, but we really wanted it no scarier than urban exploration and not really challenging in a technical sense. So it's not a platformer, and you don't have to concern yourself with that. So, furthermore, to make this really a good walking experience, I layered on an anti-fall through collider right here. And this is like 100 polygons or something. So nice and flat, fills in the holes. And so when you kind of take them all together and sandwich them, you get something the audience will never know, but, a very kind of performance and safe and fun, but very interestingly geometried kind of experience there.
And one note you didn't mention on the kind of in-between collider, the reason we didn't just use a flat donut for the whole thing was because when we were walking around it originally, I commented how much I liked how knobbly and gnarled it felt to walk on. You bounce around just a little bit. It feels like you're kind of tripping over edges. It's, live wood planks. They're going to be a little rickety and wacky. And I didn't want to give up that experience. It's interesting that a little bit of a janky floor collider actually feels immersive, and that can be a detail.
All right.
Ooh, my favorite part. So I did 98% of the programming in this world, and so I'm going to talk about some of the things I made, and specifically the lesson I want you to take away here is how amazing it can be to build tools for yourself and for the other people you're working for or the community at large. One of the most daunting parts of building a ginormous map that you're meant to progress through in a linear fashion, especially one that takes space in a lot of platforms and things, is what happens if the player falls off. By default, they'd fall quite a ways, and then they'd end up back at spawn and have to walk possibly multiple minutes to get back to where they were, and that's not fun. And so I worked really hard to come up with a system that let me keep track of where players are in the level and respawn them appropriately. And what it looks like is a lot simpler than it might sound. Let me grab my little demo here. Now, I thought it would be fun to show behind the curtains. The reason the quad is present, and actually I'll just show that right now, because then I can hide the rest, is that quad is how you actually manage gently fading out a player's view and then bringing them back out. There's no magic turn off camera option in Resonite or really most game engines. So the industry standard, as far as I understand it, and is what I did here, where you just take a really big quad or sphere and put it in front of the player's face. And then when you want to fade out, you just squish it down in and bring it back out. And so, actually, before I do this, let me find... Where's my little guy for this one? Hello, little guy? There he is. Need you, so that I don't go flying off into space. This one will force respawn me, so you can watch the fade out happen. And we're back. And so that's how you respawn somebody. You gently bring it on in, move them, and then gently bring it on out. And the player is none the wiser that you just teleported them 500 feet. Let me scoot this one carefully over here. And then let me turn off the giant quad that's blocking everyone's vision.
And this exists as a standalone system you can bring home today as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It's in my public folder already. And there's copies of it all around this world. And it's in Out of the Dark. But mostly it's in my public folder. That's the easy to find one. Cool. That should be fine. And let me turn off the active on that. Just to make sure that I am definitely not gonna accidentally break anyone. There we go. No more giant quad? Cool. Alright, so the way I handled the respawning in the level were these boxes. And these boxes were actually a gamble. It was less than a week left till deadline, and I had the realization that if I wanted to use this system to build satisfying respawn points throughout the entire map, I was going to need over 30 of these boxes, possibly closer to 50. And by default, the experience is pulling out an inspector and making a box, and then kind of like rotating it and having to resize it and then wiggle it a bit and resize it. And it just took forever, and it was tedious, and it was not fun. And I knew it was going to take a minimum of 3 to 5 hours to do that, and I was going to be miserable the whole time. And if I ever had to change anything, I'd cry. I'd just cry. So I took the gamble to think, I think I can make a better one. I think I can make one that's faster, easier to use, that I can just hand to Nix, who at this point, a week left, he's already done most of his modeling. He's kind of just running around doing fit and finish. He can do this while I finish other system stuff. And so I took that gamble, and it paid off big. So you can just grab any one of these corners. The whole thing dynamically resizes it to whatever size and shape it needs to be, while keeping everything kind of stable so you don't mess anything up. And what's extra neat about this is that this, which you can see the arrow is pointing to, represents the respawn point. So what this system is saying here is if you are inside of this box, I'll go ahead and put myself inside of it. Let me go ahead and turn on the debug too, because that's where you can really see the magic. That's me, that's that.
And on screen you can see a couple examples of how we had this laid out in our map.
There we go.
And how important it was that we kind of had bounding boxes that worked like this.
Oh, since I pulled this from the other map, this one's not going to work, but that's okay, because literally any of the other ones will. Okay, that's actually going to be too annoying to do in the middle of a talk. Maybe I'll do it while you talk about something else. That's disappointing, but I will get back to that one.
See. I've got a little tree here, so I'm going to talk about, there's some animations in our map, and I want to kind of show you how that's done and how you too can create your own, really fun things using just as particularly the value gradient driver box here. I mean, there's kind of an epiphany to me. Maybe it's obvious to animators, and maybe a fun fact for everyone else that, basically, value gradient drivers allow you just to pick different values, and as it progresses from 0 to 1, it will run through kind of a timeline of different values. And so what I've done here for one of our big, start of the level effects is this bridge that falls down. And that's actually just tied to these two value gradient drivers. One is in the hinge right here that kind of moves the whole thing up, and the other is on the board itself for a little bit of wobble. So as you'll see as I reset it, this progress bar is tied to this one, so they both move together. And we can just drive it up. And so if you take any object and say, get the coordinates of this position, and then move it a little bit, say, it's starting to sway, get the coordinates for this position, plug it in. And if you keep doing that and sequence them, it's really this simple to get a decent animation. Here we fall, it jostles a little bit, it settles, and all of that is done with just what you see here, a series of coordinates and a timeline. So you can use this to really make some very fun things. I just wanted to give you a little example of what she looks like. If you're on the tour, you'll see this right up front, so now you kind of know how it's working behind the scenes. How are we looking, Ryn?
Pretty close.
All right, one of our upcoming demos too is the beautiful zip lines that we're made originally by Firefly and team over there, because Heights of Comfort was a real big inspiration for us, especially when we were thinking about like what works. And I'd really noticed, Heights of Comfort is a entry last year, I believe, honorable mention in the small team social, and it was really a beautiful place to be. It had puzzles and intrigue all around it, and it's one of the things that I really saw with like a big life that people would keep coming back to. As a part of us, we were kind of asking ourselves why, and like some of our thoughts about keeping things kind of central and fun and social, but also exploration, were very spurred by that. And because it was an MMC, it's a fully remixable thing. And so we decided that we really loved the zipline system that Firefly team had made, and we had customized that to our own purposes. So we're going to show you in a little bit here the system that we used and made into like a portable drop-in system, and it really became something that enabled some of the real fun stuff that we do in our map. And that's just really tied into why I think, again, the remix culture is so powerful. I really encourage everyone, kind of have a look at everything that Creator Jam makes, everything from MMC. All of it is by requirements licensed as Creative Commons attribution at its most restrictive. So all you have to do is say, hey, thanks, author of each piece. And you can use that to really kind of leverage your own creations. And I think a lot of great art is kind of built from the DNA of art that comes before. It's always a little bit in conversation with things that have come before, and always kind of like takes and builds upon it. And I think that mindset's really powerful. So I'd encourage you guys to, look at some of these things as stuff that you could use as a leap pad into new works. Because Firefly and team made this beautiful zipline system, we could send you through a forest that night and get the vistas that we got.
There we go. I'm all ready for a demo if you're at a good point.
Absolutely. Take it away.
Cool. So, going back to the respawn system, the way this works is you've got these resizable boxes, and what this zone says is that I am within the bounds of the game. I'm where I am supposed to be. And when you fall out of them, it sends you back to your last respawn point. Now, again, I had to make 30 to 50 of these things, and that got cumbersome. So I also made a system that shows you where your respawn point currently is, and also made them really, really easy to move around. So every time you duplicate it, every time I go to show this off, it does this where it doesn't grab me different colors, but it is supposed to be a different color every time you grab it and duplicate it. Also doesn't help the lighting here is very, very orange.
They're very different. You got red, pink, and salmon.
Oh, good, thanks. And I was able to run around the map, and as I move between zones, I can check and go, okay, I'm here. Does it make sense for me to be there? Great. Let me lock those in. And as I move, the debug visual shows me where I'm going to respawn, so I can kind of spot check my work and make sure that I'm in the right place for the area I'm at. And on my first pass, I missed a couple of them, because whenever you duplicate one of these and move it around, you need to set your new spot, wherever you're going to respawn. And on a couple of them, I missed it, or just clicked the wrong one, or something like that. And so being able to run around the map and go, wait, am I going way over there now? Click, done, cool, fixed. This saved so much time and is probably the thing I'm most proud of out of the Dark, which is funny to say because Out of the Dark is a giant, sprawling, awesome narrative adventure, and this is a bunch of boxes. But I'm really excited to get this into people's hands because it solves a super real problem. Anywhere you need a box that is resizable and settable and like easy to duplicate and use a million of, this can come in handy. So this is in my public folder. Feel free to use it. It's just an easy drop-in respawn system. And yeah, happy to be showing that off.
Ryn, is your public folder in the gift shop downstairs?
It sure is.
Excellent. So the audience will know where to get that.
It's by the tree.
Relevant XKCD, as always. Use some of this thinking about deciding how to, allocate time in like a 1-month project. And it really paid off, to spend some time making the tool that made things graceful at the end. Because even being able to see where boundaries begin and end, that would be unmissable.
Yes.
So,
I've got one other system I want to show that's also along the same lines. The zip lines that came from Firefly's wonderful Heights of Comfort world. They really solved a real problem of traversal for us, especially with how vertical this map is. But one thing we struggled with very quickly is that their original design was for one map where there was one zip line and you like had to bring a bag to it to use it, and the zip line never moved. And so the system worked amazingly in those conditions, but it was not very flexible. The moment you moved any of the points, nothing lined up anymore. You needed the bag thing to trigger the whole thing, etc. And we didn't even know this early into the project, like, where the zip lines were going to go. That was kind of fluid. We needed to play test and see where they made sense. And so I spent, investing time, as we showed, making the zipline system super flexible so you could just kind of drag and drop it wherever you want and it would just work. And because of that work, for this demo, I spent literally 15 to 20 minutes making this tip so that I can drop a zipline wherever I damn well please. And it just works. It's going to be really slow because this zipline is meant to go really far.
It just
Wow, it's
works.
moving you.
Whoa! This system is not in my public yet, but it will be very soon. So in case you need a zipline anywhere and you want to get from point A to point E, it just works. TM. Off with you. Go into the abyss. What else do we want to talk about? What did we not hit yet?
Trying to wrap up with just, I think one of the things that makes MMC special to me was just kind of like calls you to a certain discipline. And I focused my attention in a way I absolutely never have before. We decided very early on that, when we start this project, we should just shoot for no 0 days. So no days where like we just do nothing, even if it's just booting up a software and staring at it and closing it. I think that's better creatively than not even trying, because you don't know if you're going to start getting inspired. And usually once you actually get into your space, you get a little bit, do 5 minutes of a thing. It's a lot easier to keep on going. And so we tried to hold to that very studiously. I think of MMC almost like a ritual, like you commit to the time and you really learn a lot, I think, with this focus. I think both of us, I feel like I learned about a year's worth of skills in that month versus when I was just, misdirected. So yeah, setting no 0 days as a goal, just like touch the software, touch your canvas and see if anything happens. It's okay if it doesn't, but at least you sat there in the studio. And I think that helps me a lot. Maybe it'll help other people.
Yep, that was the rule. Is we had to, for me at least, I had to launch Resonite, launch the world, and at least think about doing a thing. That was the bare minimum. Some days I would stop there. I'd just go, you know what? No, I don't have it today. It's not happening. But at least I felt like I tried. I at least showed up. It's kind of like showing up to the gym. You at least got there. But most days you're like, well, I'm already here. There's that thing I've been meaning to fix. It takes 2 minutes. I'm just going to do that 2-minute thing. And then maybe I'll call it done. And you start doing the 2-minute thing and you're like, oh, that was actually really easy. Maybe I'll do another thing. And then you start tinkering with that. And the next thing you know, 3.5 hours have passed and you've got a ton done and it was amazing. And most days end up going like that. And kind of speaking to the motivation side of it, I think that was one of the coolest phenomenons of MMC for me, was that you'd think, especially with the talk of our staying up all night on the final night, which is just a fun thing we do because I missed the concept of all-nighters from my youth. That aside, during MMC, I actually take the best care of myself that I do than I do the whole rest of the year, because if I don't get enough sleep, if I don't eat enough, if I'm not exercising, I can't focus, can't create. I'm doing bad work, and that feels bad. And so I do those things. I take really good care of myself so that I can show up and make the thing. Part of that is social too. I'm very socially motivated, and knowing that my successes are not just mine, but Nix's as well, that drives me. So find what motivates you and lean into that. If you're socially motivated, think about what your partner would miss out on if you didn't show up today. If you're growth minded, think of the skills you could be learning, and take care of yourself. Seriously, breaks, water, Exercise actually helps a lot for just kind of clearing out brain fog and resetting, getting you all those good neurotransmitters you need. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, there's just no substitute for something you're passionate about, whether it's just like play and fun or deep meaning. I feel like you have to have one of those in a work if you're really going to like throw yourself into it and come out with something that, I don't know, kind of shines. And I don't know, we really enjoyed every single minute of making this thing. And I think hopefully that comes across, we definitely, this is a labor of love, this map. And
Yeah,
it was just
it never
a joy
felt
to
like
make,
work.
and I really hope it's a series of wondrous little experiences for everyone here that has played it or will play it. So I mean, that's really the lesson, is I think you got to infuse like play into your work, or like meaning. Like you got to have one of those, because if you're phoning it in, then the audience can tell.
Both is good.
And why spend your time on that? Life is too short, right? You gotta, I don't swing for it. We decided to take a risk on something that would be fulfilling, but we were definitely going to fail at. And then we did it, and had so many bugs that we definitely failed at it. But it was amazing along the way, and yeah, I couldn't be happier with what happened here.
Completely
Any last words
agreed.
from you, Ren?
Yeah, if you want more, there's going to be a Q&A in just a moment here, where you get to ask us questions, both you on Twitch, wherever I want to gesture for that, and you here in the audience. And then if you want even more, we're going to be doing a tour of the world, which will be streamed to Twitch as well, and anyone here can just come along and experience the world firsthand. And we'll be doing kind of the director's commentary as we go. So if you're curious more about the day-to-day, the inspiration, what was going on behind the scenes as you move through the world, definitely tag along for that. If you haven't played the world yet and you don't want spoilers and you want to experience it on your own, this is going to be recorded and uploaded to YouTube later, so you can always drop off after the Q&A and then come back and get the spoilers after you've played the map. All valid, your choice. Take it away, Sticks. Well, actually, no, Nix. What you got?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the intended way to play this is, maybe alone or with like a couple close people, kind of slowly, because it's so much more about like being in the space. Everything we thought about was very to be immersed. And so, yeah, it's hard to do with a group. We'd love to have you, but
yeah, we didn't talk a lot about that.
I think just like quiet, solo, soaking in the atmosphere is really the vibe we tried to hit. It's a little bit like urban exploration in my head.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that a lot, but like the core driving force behind the design of everything really was immersion. Like we asked ourselves, what does VR do best? And the answers were scale, because you got 2 eyes, you got depth perception, you can really look at something and go, gee, that's big. Immersion, because your sights and your sounds and tactility are all there, you're very present, it's easy to like have a noise over your shoulder and go, whoa, you're in it. And so we leaned into those things, and they kind of drove every decision we made. Like there's basically no UI that's not motivated by being in the world. There's no floating menus, no hovers, no anything like that. Everything feels like it's believable.
Absolutely. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We've absolutely enjoyed sharing some of the peaks of what makes it work. And yeah, thank you so much for being here with us today.
All right. Thank you so much, Nix and Ryn. And everyone give them a hand. We're going to open the floor for a question period now. So if anyone in the audience has a question, an inquiry, a comment, compliments, and anyone in the Twitch chat, if you guys have questions, raise your hands, ask your question, make a notation, hand, paw, wing, claws, tentacle.
Whatever that is.
Yes.
Drumstick.
Is Legion, do you have a question, or are you just vibing?
Thank you, Leica and Pickle, for the silent Twitch clapping.
Thank you.
I'm gonna kill that debug visual.
No questions? No questions at all?
You know what? It's awful hard to see people's... All right, we're gonna turn the lights back on so you can watch your eyes.
Oh yes, that would be would be helpful.
Here we go. We can actually see your hands now. Welcome back.
Whoa, we're coming out of the dark. There it is. It's
Out
the
of the
title
dark,
card.
you did it. You beat it. Yeah.
All right, questions? Anyone?
Anyone?
Dang.
Well,
I think we
I've
said
got-
everything then. That's it.
I've got a question. What was it exactly that inspired the big thing at the ends? What inspired that?
Ooh, it's very tied to the secret lore, honestly. I think that comes directly out of the why of it all. And we really did try to make sure there was deep lore, because if you're doing environmental storytelling, we need to know what's happening to convey the little hints of it you give the players. You know, you can't do the J.J. Abrams mystery box where, like, it's a closed fist and there's something really interesting in it, I promise, and I'll figure out what that is later.
I think my question is more how did you decide on the scale of it and what you reveal exactly? How did you make the decision to present it that way instead of just doing it through like notes or through like the final puzzle or whatever? Like, how did you decide to present it in that way?
I think the scale came about, again, because of the story and because of what and where you are. It didn't make sense any other way. Like, it had to be big. And actually, that final reveal was probably the hardest technical challenge of the entire thing because of the scale. Fun fact, Resonite has a default far clip value, which is the maximum distance that anything will render for you.
It sure does.
Of about,
Yes.
I don't know, 600 meters, somewhere between 600 meters and a kilometer. And past that, it is just a black wall. And we actually had to scale down our plans because it initially went much further than that.
We had a vision for that final sequence. I mean, that was in my head like day 3 or 5.
Yeah,
I think of exactly like that was exactly what we were building from the very start. We knew exactly where I was going and we knew why it was happening. And so it was kind of setting them in that place properly with the journey.
So where it happened and like how it was presented came about sort of a little accidentally, in that the where you are when it happens just happened to be part of the existing structures there at the time. And you were kind of there anyway. And when I thought about moving you, I already loved the view so much. It felt wrong to change it.
Right.
You know, I mentioned like we weren't sure if it was going to pay off. The cool thing was, about a week or two before the deadline, Nix was off working on something, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a stab at it. I'm gonna do the big finale. And I found like all of the like assets I'd need, and I thought about how it was gonna work, and I just spent about an hour hooking it up. It really didn't take a lot of time, surprisingly. It just all fell together, and then I'm like, all right, here we go, hit the switch.
And it just worked?
And it just worked.
Yeah.
And
It
I
just
got
worked.
goosebumps and I felt things, and I'm like,
Yep.
whoa.
Very good.
Nix,
It's
Nix, come see.
super important that you guys had that in your brains, like a few days in or a week in, and you knew where your project was going, you knew where it was going to end. I think that's super important as well, knowing where your project's going to go.
Yeah, I think that helped us build to it properly.
We have a couple of Twitch questions, actually.
Oh, sweet.
One from Pickle Puppo. Do you guys have a dream project you guys want to work on in the future?
Ooh, that karaoke world we didn't do. I want to say you can set up your act ahead of time under the stage and it will lift up. I mean, Resonite's got karaoke, and I absolutely love kind of putting together little vignettes for it. Like last week, I put together this set for Pink Floyd's The Wall, so I could actually go around and, you know, I can sing, you know, Mother, should I trust the government? And I'm building the wall the whole time. These have little snap planes on them. So by the end of it, you know, you're completely walled off from the audience, just like on the 1980s tour, where you just like, you're not visible except maybe you're peering through a little. So I love stuff like that.
Kills.
So I definitely want to make that karaoke world still eventually.
I'm a big gamer nerd at heart, and so my dream projects all involve various amounts of fantasy hack and slash RPG adventures. And I have said time and time again, when Resonite has physics and collections, I am going to go off. I'm just going to disappear for like 2 years and make magic, literally and figuratively. And those things are on the horizon, and they're not too far away, it sounds. So,
The next question from Laika Barrowpaw? Laika Barrowpaw. Do you plan on expanding the story in this world in future worlds, or do you think the story of this world is complete? I think that's a very good question.
You know, I've thought a little bit on that. I think the story itself, in terms of like the characters involved and the happenings involved, are sort of complete. There's not really more that needs to be told. But I actually really like the world we came up with, the environment, the like happenings, the major entities. And I've already like in another project we're kind of working on the side, like slipped in a little Easter egg reference to this world because it's easy to tie it into other things. So I think it's very possible some elements of the story here will leak into future projects.
All right. Anybody else in the audience? Chitwa, see your hand up. Go into yell.
Oh, I can yell. Can you talk a little bit about the development of the spark bug and like how it moves so naturally and he's so cute.
Yes. Yeah, let me spawn like one of the ones that actually like moves as you describe. So the original
creature before.
yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. The original idea for it came from this ring that is a system I had on my avatar. The original object that it was based on, I think, was made by the Basement Nerd many years ago. And it was just a little orb you could send out with your trigger and it would return. And you could press context to teleport. And that part is still largely intact, but I've done a ton of work on this to make it way more robust and bulletproof from a like technical standpoint, like how it actually teleports and handles locomotion states, gravity. This is like my magnum opus. There are like over 200 to 300 nodes of flux inside of this thing, making it tick, and it's still ridiculously performant despite that. And it's boing, because it gives me a little hover state for a moment. So if I'm blinking around all rapid like, I don't fall to my death as I'm disoriented. So anyway, along the way of having this thing that's become like a core part of my tool set, I built a light into it where I could hold down my secondary and it shined a light around. And so as we were starting work on the world, we originally had lanterns. That's why there's a ton of lantern designs in the gift shop if you end up there in the world. But while we were working on it, we'd made it dark. We were in a cave and we hadn't finished all the lighting yet. I was just kind of using my light to get around and like work. And as they started making models and we started walking around them and I was using the light and I'm like, whoa, I love how the light plays off of things. And this is so cool to kind of cast my light out into the dark. We should use this. Let's make something like this that's, the player is going to use. And it obviously wasn't going to be my ring. That's like my thing and doesn't really fit the world. And so the most sensible thing was a firefly we came up with, which was daunting, honestly, because I don't think you'd ever modeled anything alive before. And I'd never tried to make something
never.
feel
I've never made a
alive
creature.
before.
I would cheat, when you're making a cave, it's fine. It can be whatever, it's got to be a little good, but, make something believable. That's going to be a little bit the star of the show as a unique challenge. But, this guy came together pretty fast, just kind of zhuzhing at it. We put some animations on its wings. And
the code did not come together fast. Trying to get the motion and the smoothing and all of that just right, it meant like smoothing slots on slots on slots because it needs to be able to move out and in independently of the like side to side smoothing. It's got to follow your hand correctly, make sense when you rotate it. So I had to do vector math and there's a lot of code under the hood. And I'm going to be honest.
Focus at really, because it was a star of the show, you might have put the most dev time into how this moves out of anything else, right?
Yes.
The whole system like rewritten from the ground up to work for us.
Yes. Shout out to Red Dragon for showing up for 2 nights to just kind of like peer over my shoulder and offer insights while I was working on it. And, despite all of that work, I still feel a little ashamed at how scuzzy some of the code inside of it is. I keep saying I'm going to rewrite it someday, and I probably never will. But that's how it came to be.
I still remember the moment, like we just had some like tree set up on a hilltop and you would send, your like remote light through it, and the way it shone through and each of the different slats was so good. It really became the core flavor of our map.
Yeah, agreed. Especially with all the organics shapes and like you said, the slats, like those platforms, the way it like dances over them is incredible.
Excellent. Does anyone else have any more questions? We'll take one more before we move on to our world hop. If anyone has another one. No? All right, well, if I can get everyone to come on stage, get into their full body avatars if you'd like, to take a group photo, and then we will go to the world hop. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this talk. Thank you, Nix. Thank you, Ryn. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank
thanks for
everyone
the
here for showing up
Thank
and
you.
letting us gab.
All right, everyone, get on the
Yeah,
stage.
shout out to the camera crew back there, Heath and
Oh,
Dave,
yep.
especially.
Heath and Dave.
Amazing
Yep.
work.
Huge shout
Thank you,
out to Heath
guys.
and Dave. Oh my god, you guys are superheroes. Holy
The
crap.
best.
Is everybody up here? Let's see. All right. There you go. Yeah.
Odie's gotta struggle up to the stairs. There you go.
Oh, perfect. All right.
We got a stepping stool.
Okay, everyone ready?
Yeah.
Say cheese.
Cheese.
Cheese out of the dark.
All right. Perfect. There we have it.
All right.
Hey, okay, now it is time for the
for
world
sure.
hop. Let's see. I believe who has the world hop world orb?
I think
Yeah, we
Dave's
are still
hosting.
on Twitch. Yeah. We are going to be streaming the world hop on Twitch as well.
So reminder to the Twitch audience and everyone here, if you don't want spoilers and you haven't played the world yet, if you intend to at some point, it might be good to come back and watch the VOD later for the director's commentary. Because this will be spoiler heavy. We are going to walk through the whole thing and we are going to tell all.
You can watch the first 10 minutes. It's probably fine, right?
We'll see. We'll see. I'm not biting my tongue. I'm going to say everything.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Go
of
ahead and save
course.
the photo. Oh no, we're just about to go on it. You're just in time. Don't worry, don't worry. I was gonna call you anyway if you weren't awake. Oh, if it's on your head list, then it should work just fine. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna use my brand new tool for this. Why not?
Whoa.
What?
Session jumper. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just made this. Let's
Okay,
see.
yeah, no one touched that orb. I want to see this. Here you go, here's the orb.
This
Yeah,
is
all-
goated.
All you have to
Yeah.
do is put the session orb right here and then walk into the door.
Wow. No.
And there's a little waiting room inside too.
Into a
We'll
jolly
see you
Miss
over there.
Molly.
I need some elevator music in here.
Wow. Is it just because you touched the orb by walking into it? I need lobby music. I think I've been here before.
I just did it with like one or two people, but not a
Oh,
whole bunch.
okay. All right.
Well, it worked
It worked, though.
flawlessly.
Yeah, it worked.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
One or two people is better than zero.
Yeah.
Hey, Nix.
Oh my.
Yes.
How glad are you that we fixed the...
Maybe they're joining us on stream there. And then, a bunch of other people in the community, the few kind of playtesters we got and people that made beautiful things that kind of helped us along the way, Orange had some footstep system things that we were able to use. Quaternius, eternal hero of the Creative Commons community, just making completely copyright-free assets. I think half of all the levels you'll see in Resonite and out in the world are made from Quaternius assets. Modern has some great Toad team vibes, some cool furniture, lots of thanks to all these people. So,
Shall we press
all
on?
right.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah,
So there's technically two paths. The intended path was always that way, but I always just go this way because it's more direct and in eye level. But, you know, choose your own adventure. So it's initially a little light on direction. You know, there's kind of only one way to go, so you should naturally kind of end up going that way, and it's where the light is. And run to our first note pretty quick. The spark bugs down here have always been friendly, but they're clinging closer than usual. It seems they've also been disrupted by the unusual darkness that's fallen over us. It's strangely comforting. Not much else here.
Heartbreakingly, all these torches were out in the MMC version. These important notes were cast in darkness and clues were missed. So,
Yep.
alas.
And you
They
couldn't
almost
like
taken
them.
one.
As we approach here, if you look to your left, you'll see one of the spark bugs kind of journeying out of its home. Seems like shiny things. So let's go in to check out that torch. And we see that it lit it. And then it came to give me a visit.
Oh.
If you would like a spark bug of your own, there's a pile of their favorite crystals here, along with an instruction sheet. They're pretty easy. You equip it just like any other tool. It works in desktop as well. And you press trigger or left click to send it out, and when you let go, it comes back towards you. That's kind of all there is to it, but it's very satisfying to maneuver it around, just due to how like floaty it is.
Fun note,
I
all
also
these
recommend...
icons I made in
Fun.
Resonite by taking the actual assets to like a separate world, putting a big like white plane behind it, taking a screenshot, and then just playing around in GIMP to kind of like isolate it, you know, make it two color. So you can make really sick icons from just literal Resonite screenshots.
If you'd like, feel free to start lighting up some of the torches and do so as we go. It's kind of one of my favorite parts of running around the map is lighting it up.
And yeah, I'll leave that to you guys there. And yeah, this was the biggest heartbreak, that this system wasn't really working in most of the map. Maybe 2/3 of these torches wouldn't light in the submitted version. And we cried.
Yeah. As we come over to the campfire, we take in the sights and we see a lot of scale right off the bat. Huge rock, a rope leading up to something very tall, and another note. One of the little ones almost got crushed when one of the bugs flew too close to the bridge's rope while we were lifting it, as if we aren't all shaken up enough. So, there's a big clue there. If someone wants to take a guess at what you're supposed to do here, go right ahead.
Yeah, Garfelsnark identified something a couple people mentioned, that in the release version too, this puzzle was a little bit harder, a little bit less intuitive. Like we said, the first clue we were telling you about it was cast in darkness. So it took a little bit of figuring for people to get it. We've made it a little bit more immediate way to proceed.
Yeah, I'm
here.
disappointed how many people saw this first area and said, whoop, that's it.
Oh, there we go. If you look up here towards the tree, there's our animation.
Something that's really important to point out, though, with your guys' this first puzzle, and what was talked about earlier about this happens because this happens, it was because your torches weren't working that people couldn't figure it out. So your narrative idea was in the right place, but because your torches were busted, that's why people had a hard time solving this puzzle, because you're naturally following narrative rules. So this happens because this happens.
That makes sense, yeah.
That wasn't working, they couldn't put those pieces together.
Yeah, everyone ran up right to that torch or that torch and tried to light it and would go, I guess it doesn't do that.
Exactly.
Everyone.
So
I'm like,
so they didn't know that the flies could set a fire regardless of what the note said, because they couldn't do it in practice. So
narrative consistency.
Narrative consistency. There you go.
All right. Well, it looks like we're venturing
Again,
onwards.
test your games.
100%. You see, we had such a good idea. If only. Breaks my heart, but we didn't want to win anyway. It's fine.
Oh, someone grabbed one of the lanterns. Nice.
Perfect. Yeah. We made them instanced at the start, so we got a couple. I love
There's
that.
also a
Wait,
spare
that's
one
so-
laying over there. Yeah, I've been meaning to say
that
your
makes me so
avatar is
happy.
so freaking cool.
Oh, thank you.
That's so fun. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, so we're up here. This right here is an example of where the safety collider comes in. We figured a lot of people in Resonite run around really tiny, and we didn't want them to mysteriously disappear while they were running around with their friends. So there's a safety collider here for their health.
It is funny though. That would be funny.
It would be,
Legion,
yes.
we,
The number one answer we've gotten from that is disappointment.
Yeah.
I think if you run around that small, you've accepted the consequences.
Right. Exactly.
And also,
Can I
just
go- can I
to
get a
set
copy of that?
everyone's mind at ease,
Could I dupe that real quick? Thank you.
don't worry about falling, because you'll be fine.
Hey Legion, could I ask you to use this lantern if you could? We have the hue of everything is very tuned to specifically only the lighting we brought in. Thank you very much.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
I appeared just at the bottom of the bridge.
Nice.
All right, let's press on. So this
the
is an
respawn
example
system
of
you
those
see is
floor
very
colliders that
essential.
are like a little bouncy, but I think that makes them really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredibly important to feel it under your feet, you know, these nice warped boards. And this is stuff that delights me because it's just not stuff I see in VR, kind of really organic, really warped shapes. It's very difficult to do in traditional kind of modeling.
I think
That's one of the
your
things that
lantern
box
can
also
light
can.
those as well, Legion. Or
Yeah,
Maglar.
all of the lanterns, you can actually,
There you go, yep.
go ahead and bam.
For the record, those are using spatial variables. Or actually, no, those are using colliders, because that was easier for this kind of system. It's just a collider that with a tag. And so when it collides with something, it checks to see if it has a tag, and if it's there, it lights. Here we have a structure that seems to have either crumbled or fallen, who could say? You can jump around, take a look if you want.
Thought it was a bee's nest.
Chock full of bees in here. Bzzz.
Including me.
See? There's one.
Ah. I'm a bee.
Molly was instantly attracted to these homes when she saw them. She's like, "We need one of these. We need one at home."
Yeah.
Yeah, don't we?
I have at home.
Doesn't seem to be much here, so we'll press on. These torches being so shiny, like, really worked in our favor. The way light, like, bounces off of them really draws the eye and pulls people along the intended path.
Mm-hmm.
And this was something that we knew we wanted, like, very early on, was, like, once you gained any amount of height, there should be some kind of vantage point where you can look back out and see where you started and how far you've come already.
Oh.
Pressing onwards into the big spooky cave. I'm going to let y'all light the torches, since I've done it a million times. I wouldn't want to rob you of the experience. As we come into here, we experience my favorite reverb. Okay, second favorite reverb zone. I love how it sounds in here.
Wow. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And a thing.
Yeah, this was a good. This was a good setup for the payoff later on as well. Yeah, especially showing this right away and then not giving people access to it until the very end. Sorry,
That was the
spoilers.
decision
Yeah,
I
I
made
think a lot
early.
of-
Like, I wanted a teaser. I wanted, like,
Mhm.
something that was playing through my head the whole time we were making this is what is going to keep people playing and not just get bored and leave, because a lot of people are used to showing up to worlds, like, speed running through and then bouncing.
Exactly. This is a really important narrative beat too, because it shows that things are a little bit more technologically advanced than it first appears as well. So just having this little panel here and this big metal door, it's enough information to glean that, oh, there's actually some high technology here.
I didn't actually really think too hard about that note, but that is a really important note.
Yep.
It's very out
Yeah.
of place.
I really like the Metroidvania and Zelda kind of tropes of like you see things you can't do yet. And it's tantalizing. And it drops just a little. There's a little more here.
Welcome. I would like to say welcome to all the raiders that just came into the Twitch stream. We got a raid, and now some people from Copy Girls Twitch is here, so welcome.
Nice.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
We do have somebody asking if you can show off the respawn system at some point as well.
Oh, I did one earlier, but I'll do it when we get to the top here. I'll show... who has the... I think Dave's doing the camera. I don't know if they can easily do that themselves, but they can watch me get respawned.
People are also complimenting Dave's wonderful camera work, too, in the chat.
He's so impressive. Shout out to Dave.
Heck yeah.
Should we explain what we're doing here? That this is a tour of the MMC 2026 narrative winner, Out of the Dark. And we're kind of giving you a little bit of behind the scenes and director.
We are like not even 20% in yet. We really just started not long ago.
A little bit of spoilers. Maybe we'll give like a note to like really dip out for the people that are living. But yeah.
Yeah, actually, if you are planning to play this at some point, maybe watch the recording later and come play it. If not, enjoy.
So yeah, fatal mistake number 2. This big door, this very important door on the release contest version, you can actually just like walk right through it. You know,
it has no collider. You can just like through it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone
so secret
who
way
wants
to speed run the game.
Yeah, anyone who wants to like play it straight though, and like they know and they're aware, they're gonna respect that. You know.
Yep.
Generally, people do.
Because this is not a complicated game; it's a story, right? You
I have seen one person do that, where they showed up and they saw that and they were like, "No," and I was like, "I respect you, thank you."
Yes.
Because the first 3 people I watched come into my world, okay, 2 out of the first 3 I watched walked right through and said, "Oh, sweet bonus," and then just kept going, and I'm like,
"Yeah,
you hurt me."
So yeah, scope and play testing, we definitely were bursting at the seams.
To put in there to open it.
What was that?
Surely, yeah.
There's going to be a key or a coin to open it.
Could be something.
Very perceptive,
yeah.
Absolutely. That'd be a good guess. Yeah. All right.
This was a neat little touch. When we made this cave, I initially was like, it's a little confusing here where you're supposed to go next. They might not pick up on the exact direction. And so we just kind of threw down some planks to sort of lead the way. And it makes it look more well-traveled as well. Like people care to come through here. And I like the effect.
That is very smart. In terms of a narrative sense, like, things like this, all of these little details all tell a story. They all work together to tell a story, which is exactly what these planks tell us, that it is a traversed space. Maybe they threw them down because they couldn't build anything more substantial due to the terrain, stuff like that. So, and as a visual guide, you guys did perfect there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, and we come over here with the reveal of the next little bit of this world.
We are back on the tree, and if you look over the edge here, you'll see we got a lot of height. And someone asked for... I'll do that in a minute.
Oh, something else I want to point out is that you guys did really, really well at letting your audience know where you are, like where they are and where they've been and where they're headed. And you guys mapped this out superbly well. Like, really, really well. I was never confused as to where I was on this map, even though it's pitch black. I was never confused because you have very, very good visual indicators.
Thanks.
So we can tell that that's our starting area there, because that's where we've been. There's the fire and the place where we lit up, and we can see how high we are now. We can also come over here and see this is the direction that we need to go.
Because there's the glimmer of torches.
The glimmer of torches, and there's like something over there, but you can't quite tell what it is.
Yeah.
And then of course you can explore in here.
Yep,
And-
this is a little bit of a side beat. It's not this one. We definitely. If I had more time, I would have put some notes here, just because it's a visually interesting place. That this one fails the Chekhov's gun test a little bit, other than just adding a little bit to the lore and the world, in that it's a very cool, visually interesting place that shows that developed people lived here. Because up to this point, we've only seen the really broken one.
No, I think this was strong anyway. Like, you don't have to necessarily Chekhov's gun like everything, but just like make sure that like 98% of your guns are Chekhoved, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
You know,
Check off your guns, friends.
Check off your guns. Yeah, watch it. As a side note, if people want to know more about that further, the Chekhov's gun, watch my lecture on environmental puzzle design. I go into that quite a bit, actually. So
it's a very good one.
The
indeed.
Chekhov here was supposed to be a note, but time.
Yeah, one of the big rules is check off your guns.
You got to stick and move because we used every single drop of time we had that entire month, and so
we didn't really
there's a
talk
couple
about
places
that.
that are a little bit emptier. Yeah, I mean, I spent at least 140 to 160 hours during February, logging on every day and pretty much every drop of my free time, except for like one night I took off. We were chugging on this, and so I wish we could have done more, but we could not possibly have done more.
They're running. They're moving.
It's so easy to stop and talk. Yeah, we'll keep moving.
Yeah,
they're excited about the zipline here. I think they're really excited to test the zipline.
As you should be. This is a quick note here. We kept the platforming elements very light. Like, we wanted there to be the occasional sense of precariousness, but never actually be frustrating.
And in many of these precarious places, we do have secret safety colliders to help keep you on the platform. By the way, hello Twitch, I've got the panel up. If we missed any questions, Twitch, you can re-say them and you'll reach us.
The sightline here is very good too, because this is, like, you can't actually get there, but here is something that you can grab and it sends you off in that direction, so it still gives you sightline.
Ready for a ride, Odie?
I don't know if I've ever used it with parented people. Oh, it works. Okay. Adventure! Forever. Sorry. It's okay. Who can resist the shiny zip line? Also, what'd you think of the zip line?
It's very cool. I thought it was not going to work because zip lines usually go down. I thought, okay, there's a return for some reason so we can get back to the thing. And I was like, oh, well, the thing's there. And I thought I could pick it up and hold it or something. But no, it just goes.
Yeah, we actually built
why it does that, but
we actually have a theory craft and assets for why it works because we thought of that. And we just ran out of time to implement it. There was those big hanging rocks you see. There was going to be a levering wheel that ratcheted the rock back up and then fell to generate the lift.
Okay, yeah.
I just couldn't stop laughing at a snake going up a zip line. That was the
Yeah,
funniest sight.
oh my god, it was Megler!
Meglar, really fits in this map for some reason, really well.
The lighting hits you perfectly.
It's like you live in these trees or something.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's like it's a community of snake people or something. That's Sneeple.
I think this log right here is one of my favorite assets that Nix made. This thing is so cool. I almost gave it its own dedicated reverb zone and I ran out of time. Which is the story of many dreams in this map.
Scope creep, yeah.
Scope creep, scope creep. Nobody will ever notice it or think about it, but there's actually a full footstep system for the first cave part of the map.
Oh,
and then I realized
we noticed that immediately. We noticed that immediately, and it really adds to it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that was meant to go over the whole map.
Mm-hmm.
But, time,
I
scope.
brought this up for you, by the way.
But it was,
because,
Molly, it was one of the first things
right?
that we mentioned was the footsteps. Yeah, when we first came
I'm
in.
glad they came across well.
Yep. Yeah, they did.
So yeah, it's the first real crossroads, and you're clearly in someplace important. All right, we're following Legion. They have made decisive motion.
Legion's pretty good for that.
Yeah, as you come in here, you
decisive,
can light the
be
heart.
decisive.
Oh, cozy.
What not everyone notices is there's one up there too you can light. Usually have to jump a bit.
Hmm.
See if I can't reach it.
You got this.
Oh, so close. So, yeah. That's so cool. That's so good.
That's what the R is for.
I'm sorry, Chekhov. There used to be a note in this drawer. We had to move it because it was needed elsewhere. For another Chekhov purpose. We traded one Chekhov for another.
Check your eyes.
So this ends up just being a really cozy spot. Because one of our original visions of this world was like Heights of Comfort. There could be spots that you just like come hang out later. You could host events here. Like this in particular, we've thought about just slicing off and making like a little event world with the plaza and cozy room.
Oh, honey, they fixed it.
Kind of funny thing I kind of.
Oh my god, they
Oh,
fixed
yes.
it!
Yeah.
We had to. You're previewing Fatal Mistake number 4.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
It's like every single pivotal storytelling beat, there's some issue. You guys,
It was.
Yeah, but at least the finale
the
worked.
whole month.
the finale
We were
absolutely
just like-
works. It was honest to God, your entire win rode on that finale.
I believe
I'll
it.
take
That's what makes
Yes.
it or breaks it, of course.
Yes, no, but it was still good, and it still held together really well.
Thanks. All right, I'll read
Yeah.
this one out loud if if you just want to hold on to it. Nobody ever listens to me. You fall off a roof one time and everyone thinks you're just a goofball. But I know that thing in the cave is some kind of door. Whoever built it just forgot to give it a handle. There's this weird lump on the wall nearby, but my parents tell me it's probably just some minerals.
There is a Chekhov's drawer in here, by the way. And then this beautiful thing from Team
Shadowed
Vibes.
Cove. Yeah, Team Vibes. There's Easter eggs around the map. There's, I think, 3 or 4 of them of various kinds. I feel robbed if I ever play a map or make a map and there's no Easter eggs. I live for them.
Oh, yeah, we bypassed one of the Dark Souls ones already, too, huh?
Yeah, I figured I'd save that one for later. Because everyone ran past it already. So going kind of through the very maze-like corridors of this village, which Nick just kind of threw together in one sitting, and I loved it so much because I got lost in it immediately, and I'm like, if I'm getting lost in it, then our players are going to love this. This is great.
And, for the first 3 weeks, I did nothing but sculpt assets. We really didn't have the blocking out. We would put it all in the world with the lighting and do a vibe check, and we'd love it, but, it took so
There's a
long to
note in
make all
here
these
y'all ran
assets.
past.
It was really towards the end of it that only came together. Yeah, one more story beat here.
Yeah, this
check
node
it out.
represents a big tone change. The dark has smothered my sense of time, but we think it's been about 5 days. It's getting colder. Not even the Elder has heard of this happening before. Yesterday he said we all have to follow him down to the old village, that we're fulfilling some kind of elder legend. I want to have hope, but I can tell he's scared.
This year, thanks to Odie as well.
Oh, I love it.
A little bit more of the village, not too much to see right here. In one idea that we kept coming back to, and it was just too scope creepy to ever do, but I really, really wanted to do, was for the people who really like lighting lanterns and finding Easter eggs, to have special lanterns that were a slightly different design and lit up like green or something and made a little noise. And, just secret ones that told you how many you got throughout. And one of them is going to go right in here, where there's a little crack you can peek inside.
We'll patch that in someday. It'll be a secret.
Yeah, might be a thing. So we've given you one of the hardest ones already.
Excellent.
All right. And then it continues on through this guy right here.
Much to everyone's disappointment, and boy do we get asked about it a lot, this door does not open. I'm just going to solve that mystery right now. I'm sorry, but this door doesn't open.
Yeah.
I've had someone get mad that they couldn't I made it so you can't just pull yourself through it, and they're like, I have to know.
Yeah.
Why would you do this? And I'm like,
It's not
do you
our
want me to
fault.
just tell you?
Take it up with Medra. The MMC needs to be 2 months guaranteed. Then we can get to all these beautiful things.
Most game jams are actually like a week to 10 days, so a month is actually pretty long. This one's really fun if you hop on behind somebody to kind of follow their firefly through, so go ahead and give it a ride.
Everyone go before me. I'm a bit nervous. I did the first one.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Magma!
Well, the snake
look at
was
that.
fun. He's now lost his life. Right, I'll get it.
Wow. Nope. Someone else just missed.
Ooh.
They let go early.
Wait,
Don't run on ahead yet.
I did not let go.
Oh.
For some reason, I got respawned.
Oh, what's Twitch chat
All
saying?
right.
You got a bunch of text
The
there.
hardest.
Oh, the camera
You
couldn't go on the
enjoyed
zip line
your
for some
fall
reason.
yesterday. It was very
Oh no!
entertaining.
And yes, the zip line is very long. Oh, camera can take the you move and it goes away.
All right. Most difficult skill check in the game here.
Yeah,
It's probably
the
fine
closest
now.
we get to platforming.
You're getting towards ancient secrets, so we figured, it's going to be similarly degraded here. Well, a little old.
One of my
Eating
favorite
my cue.
Easter eggs is right here. Where I'm standing, if you look in the object hierarchy at the root, there is the load-bearing box, which is a reference to Bethesda, which I believe had a box or something in one of their games that if they deleted it, all of their programming fell apart and they couldn't figure out why. In this case, it is literally a load-bearing box. I'm standing on it
Nice.
because sometimes you would jump for this doorway and fall through.
Oh no!
All
We
right,
don't want
we
to interrupt
found.
the experience with the little fiddly. It's not actually as dangerous as it looks. It can't be.
Yep. So we've got another note here. So this is it. I never thought it would happen to me. This was a tale and a duty for some far-off future. In just a few hours, I'll open the gate below the old village tunnel and we may all die, or face some other unimaginable fate. Elder Broom never said what would be on the other side when our duty was done. Elder Mattis, cycle 31,937. Continuing to explore, we're in a bit of a bedroom.
Oh
Pull up a ladder.
Oh.
And here's another note. I don't know why there's
Open
still a...
comb.
And a comb, yeah, of course. Our note here. 100 years. We're not even sure if that means the same thing here, but we keep track anyway. It gives us hope. It keeps us going. We've decided not to tell the children. It'll be the children of their children's children that may yet leave this place. They don't deserve multiple lifetimes of this burden. We'll teach a new elder each generation, so our hope stays alive, that someday they'll open that door. That hope is all I have left. Miro, cycle 788. And below that, something suspiciously keycard shaped.
Or copper saw.
I wonder
Or,
where we could use that.
Yeah. And then an Easter egg I've only ever seen one person find before. Again from Team Vibes. Just behind the open drawer is a bit of a mislead.
Oh my god, I love it.
All right, I'm gonna store this thing safely on my tool shelf so I don't drop it. Oh, that's where my
we'll let somebody
firefly
put it
went.
over.
It's on my tool shelf. All right, now that we have the key card, time to head back to that those minerals.
Yes, I love this part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, follow so many steps as you can.
I think the zipline bugged.
Explodes.
Oh no, hey.
Hi. That was weird. Why is this one is
That's so
bugged?
cursed. That's so cursed.
That's very cursed.
Well, best not to think about it. It's fine. All right. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, that one's the haunted zipline. Don't touch that one.
The sound is backwards too. That was so evil. Holy
Yeah.
moly.
Okay, that's
I've
never
seen
happened.
this before.
I know you were doing the same with me. I was zipping and you were zapping and
Zip zap zoobity zap.
zip zap zippity dab.
Nick's just now like started
Yeah.
hearing them.
We had that bug, didn't we? Though, like when we were doing it. I think so. Yeah. I know I did. I had some weirdness with the zip line where it was going like back and forth, and I had to like fly.
Strange.
Yeah.
It's funny. Oh, hi, Dave. Or Heath.
I can't see them. Only you can. No, different dimension. Oh, I see. Hi.
Because he came towards me and I screamed.
Oh no.
The same reaction. Oh shit, we're gonna crash.
Let me grab it until I jump off the edge.
I think Nick's came back to rescue me. Oh, goodbye.
Oh, there he goes.
I think you
I
should definitely do
screamed
this
and
so
then he
quickly
was
impossible
coming
and everyone just falls.
towards me.
Yep.
Scope creep. Scope creep. I saw that. We were like, whoa, hi.
Amazing. Oh, somebody made a clip.
Intended feature.
Oh, Nick's left? Oh, I wonder if he crashed or something.
The
The
zip line was
last
too
time I
much.
seen
Collision.
Nix was him. I was coming down and he was going up.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, that's a great clip.
I just saw he left. Oh, wait, did someone clip you disappearing? So good. I love this part.
Excellent. I think that's one of the first clips that anyone has ever made on the Metaverse.
Whoa, I'll take that.
I just changed my battery too. What's I done?
This is really doing things. She's like,
Shit, Mike, in your
Way too fun.
Yeah, that tree there is also all Nick's. Like, I no part in that. Shout out to Nick's for putting a tree to fly through, because that's cool as heck.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
like
love
the-
that.
It feels like I grew up in Florida. It feels like a Disney Universal kind of ride. I love it.
Yeah. Oh,
You're
by the way, I noticed the not particles, but the speed effect that you're doing with the sphere around you as you're going down the zip line, with like the things in front of you, the lines.
I can't
So
actually
giving
take
that-
credit for that. That was on the original zipline from Heights of Comfort. The only thing I did for that was make it automatically align correctly to the direction the zipline's going, because it was
yeah.
static before.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a cool effect. I like
It
visual effects.
works so good on this map because of the pitch black and it being like kind of unlit. The system will catch him. He'll reappear here in a moment. I don't know if the camera's around, but yeah, someone asked for a demonstration of the respawn system, and actually, yeah, I guess it might put you back there, but it's literally like, if you jump off, you'll reappear nearby.
Hopefully I didn't scare you when I was coming down.
Oh, no.
Hello,
I
I'm back.
screamed and you were coming up and I was like going back down.
Oh,
and I was like,
Jenna's scary
No.
the best
There were
of
so
time.
many scary things happening at the same time. I could hardly even tell.
I didn't
Things
know
are
what was
going backwards.
happening.
The audio was playing backwards, and it sounded
I
so
couldn't grab
evil.
the handle, so I didn't
The
jump for it.
closest thing so far on this map to a jump scare.
Yeah, yeah.
I grabbed the wrong handle.
All right, let's keep moving.
Back up rather than coming down.
I had to get real pushy with Nix to put these planks here because it was originally just these real gnarled branches.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What? It's fun. It's cool." I'm like, "No, this is so hard. I keep falling." This is where most people get lost, but it's this way.
Yeah.
Follow the sounds of my voice.
This is really good too because it does present this place above you as you're working back down to the door, you see this place. Like this is basically placed right in your sight line, which was a really good move. I know that didn't exist. The entry, like it's there now. The ladder is there now. But for us it didn't. It was gone. It disappeared. It was a ghost.
So, one of the 4 cardinal failures that happened during the actual MMC entry was that in our final day of cleanup, someone just burned the rope over there, and then you hear the rock hit way far below, which I like. That ladder is on a value gradient driver driving its position. So in the final day, when we were reorganizing everything in the hierarchy, when we moved it, it kept its position locally, which meant it shot like 500 meters off into the abyss.
Yeah, it must have been 500 meters off in the abyss for us because there was no ladder whatsoever. And we're like, are we supposed to get up there somehow? Are we supposed to climb up these trees or what?
I don't know if you watched Fruxius's playthrough of the map. He spent 15 plus minutes trying to get up here, and it hurt. It was physically painful to watch.
We tried like jumping, and then we're just like, oh, dun 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 dun. Okay, we're just gonna fly. It's like womp womp.
Yeah, he eventually gave up.
Not intended by the developer, but unfortunately we don't do this. We're not going to get to the end, so...
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Thankfully, most people assumed we just did something that was, like, too obscure for them to figure out.
Yeah.
But no, the ladder was way over there. Which,
no,
I'll take as credit that up to this point we had done a pretty good job of being consistent. Okay.
But the Elder's platform is... fling yourself on this tree and climb all the way up, so it's a really artistic intention that you have to struggle to get to the end.
Yeah.
Which is why we made that big mistake.
The Elder's platform is getting more rickety by the year. The original Elder must have been an impressive man to have built that crazy house in the first place, but he sure didn't make it easy to work on. How am I supposed to get fresh planks over there? I guess nimbleness comes with the title, because Elder Mattis doesn't seem to mind. It says it keeps him spry. The Elder platform being the one with all the holes in it that we've already been on now. But you can find this before you go over there, and that kind of hints to what you're walking into.
My spine.
Yeah, they do have a spine. I forget the snakes with bones.
Snakes are mostly spine. They're mostly spine.
All spine.
I think they're just a nebulous liquid-filled tube in my head.
No, you're thinking of ferrets.
Ah, yes. All right. This is one of my favorite rides back as well, because everything's lit up now. Hey, it worked that time.
It didn't die this time.
Also, if you're having trouble with staying attached to it, you can just use your laser and trigger and enter the anchor, and then you don't have to hold down grip. I do recommend being a little closer to it, because you'll be wherever you were.
Let go of it.
Oh, no.
It's one of the she probably did. One of the challenges with it being multi-tiered is if you fall into another respawn box, you'll respawn at that one, which I could engineer around, but time.
I just tasted that one up. That works. I like the view down here too.
Everyone's testing the respawn system today.
Oh. Did you respawn in a sensible place, or were you down there?
I was down there.
Yeah, it's because you fell into its respawn box. That was just sort of a I could engineer around this, but that would take a bunch of time. So yeah, if you fall into a different respawn zone, you're gonna respawn at that one.
Gotcha. No worries.
I should probably just have a minimum amount of time you need to be in the zone for your thing to update. That'd probably fix it real easy. All right, onwards to the cave with the thing. Ooh, what's the Twitch chat saying?
Yeah.
I wish I had a floaty Twitch chat.
Oh well, this was terrifying. Yes, like a barrel paw, it is.
Hmm.
Oh, it's a gentle
Oh,
terror.
we're gonna take a quick detour if you follow me for another Easter egg. I know everyone's real excited about the door, but I love keeping everyone in suspense. So if you want another Easter egg, it's over here.
Would you like a floaty Twitch chat, Ryn?
I would love a floaty Twitch chat.
Yeah.
This here is my obligatory Dark Souls
Oh,
reference.
cool.
For
Try
those not
jumping?
familiar, the game Dark Souls has a system in it where, though the game is largely single player, you can leave notes on the ground for other players, and they'll receive it in like anyone else's world, as your ground is littered with these signs, and a lot of them are sarcastic and intentionally misleading. And try jumping is usually near places that look like it might be treasure, but it's usually a death pit, and so it's a cheeky rep.
I expect for me.
Oh yeah, that was the Twitch chat. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Twitch chat can be heavy at first.
You're worth a Twitch chat.
Oh, am I getting a Twitch chat?
Open this
Am I about to
door.
get plugged in?
Maglo's just gonna pick the lock.
Pin. Hi, Twitch
Lock
chat.
for this show.
Hi, Leica.
All right.
Oh
If you want to give the
man.
key to somebody else to.
So did anyone grab the key?
You did, Ryn?
Didn't you have it on your shelf?
Is this a bit?
It's a bit.
Yeah.
Who wants
Does
to do the
anyone,
honors? Everyone else,
We're
stand
too,
back and enjoy.
we're too autistic for that bit. I'm sorry.
All right.
We're too-
I'm
Allegiance on
also
it.
dangerously good at deadpan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Ooh. More animation, complete with value gradient drivers.
I think that was the single hardest sound bit to find in this map. Finding like the appropriate big heavy metal rolling thing sound was so hard.
That is true. That is true. I do find that is a particular challenge.
Yeah,
We've been holed up here for days now, and there's been no sign or signal. I'm facing the grim truth that even if anyone reported us missing, Astrarium would never consider the cost of a rescue mission. Nobody's coming for us.
We're approaching a story turn too, Twitch, so this is the first sort of spoiler threshold.
This is the biggest
So you're
spoiler
welcome to
threshold.
watch. But we're gonna take a little turn here.
Ooh. Spoiler.
And here is my single favorite reverb zone.
Ooh.
Whoa,
The
whoa,
tube.
whoa, whoa. The tube.
tube. Bye-bye with tube.
So yeah, tone shift. This is real high tech and kind of old. So we'll start with the screen since they're the biggest and most like obvious thing in here. Got a lot of stuff, docking status error, reason code. I had a lot of fun writing this stuff actually because I work in IT. I feel like I made it all fairly believable on like terminal output. I won't read all of this one because I made this one intentionally super wordy so that there's just lots of text scrolling. You two are too cute. And so this is the like dense one. This is like everything you kind of need to know on one colorful flashing screen that you can't miss. Remediation required. Docking status error. Reason code 3762 version mismatch. Manual approval required. Authorize via tablet. Power systems error. Low power mode engaged. Complete docking procedure. Check docking status. Then a little panel over here. Panel, manufacturing airlock. Door systems, warning. Ventral port hatch open. Manufacturing airlock sealed after flight. A lot of key words in everything I just said that kind of raise a lot of questions.
Beeping.
We'll take a look at... Oh, yeah, there's a tablet too. No signal. Seek higher ground. Override. Hit the button.
Are you okay?
No signal. Seek higher ground.
Okay.
There's some more notes in
I
here.
didn't hear nothing, don't worry.
Huh?
Temper's not feeling well. He's not here.
But I guess we have to climb the trees again and use this.
I want to
Potentially.
note that I love this like telescopic thing with the duct tape Copper
Thank you.
coils.
Taller.
It's
That is
so
really, that was
whimsical.
really good. It was very whimsical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one that it's just like instead of going to bed, it's like push a little further, and it's my favorite thing. It just struck me like a bolt of
Mhm.
lightning. Like, oh man, a little bit of old and new. I can
pushes
animate it so
the
quick.
whole narrative of, oh, this group is stranded and they're making do with what they have. It's like it's so simple, but the narrative implication is really elaborate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just so like it. Oh,
Yeah.
as soon as I did, I was like, oh my god, like, and I can make it so easy. I can make a little bit of like electrical tape look good real quick. I can draw like
Yeah,
a little
electrical
squiggly
tape,
line
yeah.
in space, and these are just like
Yeah.
cylinders, and but
Yep.
bam, that's all you need.
Yeah.
One little detail: if you look at the reflection on the screens too, the silliest thing about this map is that those are actually using the normal map of this beautiful
Mhm.
Gilio Salette candy
God.
texture. So if you lick the screens, they're peppermint. So
tasty.
not a lot of people lick the walls around here, but in case you do, now you know. That's what you get.
No. Oh,
Your avatar
No.
keeps delivering. This is great.
wow. Oh my god.
yeah.
Is that
Oh.
like a personal avatar, or is it's something you
Yeah,
can
it's a
obtain?
personal. Yeah,
Ooh.
something
Oh
I
my
made.
gosh,
Sorry.
it's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
There's
the
like a
chat
lot.
And there's
can't
also
hear
some
reverb.
rusty-
Aw.
And the other secret is that there's a couple cans of pilk hidden back here.
Oh,
Ancient,
cool.
original recipe
my
pilk.
God.
So
Is that
No
what
bridging.
said Medra just now?
That's an old can of Pilk.
yes,
I don't know
yeah,
if
the
I've
Creator
drinking
Jam
old Pilk.
version makes you say Medra.
Medra.
Here, would you like a sip?
Yeah.
It's vintage.
I think
They
that
can't
might
use that
give you
recipe anymore.
tetanus, honey. It's
Oh,
Medra.
very.
So important story beat that. And I'll come back later.
Totally. Speaking of, there are 2 more notes in here that I'll read real quick before we
You've
wander
got-
off.
You've got all your hip
Yes.
t-shirts,
before we
right?
get
That's-
tires again, yeah.
Our supplies are starting to dwindle. Miro nearly died trying to explore the forest floor, but it seems like we might be safe in this crevice. There aren't as many resources here, but maybe we can build our way into the trees. Glenn says he can repurpose some of our tools for metalworking. Starting to feel hope. We can survive.
This is also like the only thing I did at model is a set of pipes here. And this eye restores from a 3D printing website for an actual iris mechanism you could print out and make.
Oh, cool.
And just kind of softened and converted into clay. Because the nice thing about 3D printing libraries is they also make a lot of their stuff like Creative Commons open licensed.
Mhm.
And our saddest note. Laria, Laria, Laria. Your face is waiting behind every blink. Your voice beckons at the fringes of the silence. Every day it becomes more real that I'll never see you again, Laria.
Aw,
Pour one out for Laria.
Medra.
And Medra.
Medra!
Tube.
The same Medra in the tube. Yeah.
I guess that means he's canon in this universe, so that's good.
That is good, yeah. Someone has the beepy thing, yeah? Who has the beeper? Okay, good.
Yeah,
Snake's got it.
perfect. I love
I
that.
like the
Oh, I
way
love how
you
you're
carry
carrying
things.
that. Yeah, it's a constant delight. These are good caves for a snake, too.
Feel like I'm metal detecting.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, the concept for how this tablet would look and feel and sound really just like came together very intuitively.
Oh,
These are the moments where, like, if you're single player, like, the kind of ambience of the map really hits you. Just how, like, dark and empty it is.
Yeah, you've already gone through it once, so you know what to expect, but now you're going through it more as a less spooked,
Yeah.
but more observant.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
see
all
if
we're
the
off.
snake can rotate.
Oh yeah, hold on tight. Everything depends on that. We have no way to get it back.
beeping? I want to know. We got everyone? I think that's everyone. All right, onwards towards the beeping. For those listening, it's getting higher pitch.
It's like someone about to have a heart attack.
Me? This is fine.
This is fine. There's fire everywhere.
This device I know nothing about in my mouth that ominously beeps.
Yes. Oh, Megler, this way.
Oh, they're figuring it out with the beeping.
Ground.
Yeah, it starts to get dimmer if you
Higher
walk
ground.
away, guiding you beep by beep. Yeah.
And then if you look at the display, it's changed. It's now yellow, and it says signal acquired. Commence docking?
Alright.
Docking in progress. Docking.
Yeah.
And I recommend kind of keeping your vision pointing that way.
This way?
Yep.
What? Yeah, look. Things are happening. Oh, that sound design though. What is happening?
Ooh.
Whoa.
It's a rock.
It's a rock. Good job. Oh my god, and all the trees on the distance. This place is sweet.
Birds.
I want to say that this ending and this reveal is such a reward for your players, and I think that's partially why this hit so well with people, is that it shows you where you've been, it puts context into your location, it gives a sense of hope, it gives a sense of accomplishment, it sort of wraps up kind of in a nice little package everything that you've kind of just experienced, and it's just a reward. It is a reward for all the audience's hard work.
Everyone turn around for a second. We're just gonna take a quick group photo. Yeah. Let's take a pose.
Praise the sun.
Praise the sun.
Oh, I don't think I did it fast enough. Nope. And I punched my light. It's fine, and I'm fine.
It's very good.
Yeah. You can see the town and a whole different light too. We're using
A whole
kind of
different
three-point
light.
lighting technique here to like really capture like what it feels like in a dome.
A sense of warmth too. Like this entire experience is very warmly lit, but there is, like, with the surrounding darkness, there is that sense of cold and oppressiveness and stuff, but this totally flips it around, and it's
you
just a
perceive things by
satisfying ending.
contrast, honestly.
Right,
So,
exactly.
You know that.
It's like you mentioned
part
with
of
the
magic
magic
trick.
trick, where like we spend all this time surrounding you in this oppressive darkness and silence, and now there's birds and light and life, and you can see everything, and it's such a payoff.
Like you weren't sure if it was in a cavern, it was just a dark place, but now actually see it's a cavern.
Yeah. I'm also real proud of the lighting job I did on the city with the shadows and the contrast and the. I spent
It
a
is a
while
very
getting that
beautiful
dialed
map, I
in.
must say. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you. It still doesn't feel real. One of these days I'll actually like intake that we won.
Yeah, we were certain we did not win. We had too many fatal flaws. Like the day after, it's like, oh my god, this and this and this. There's no ladder to the final area. It's dead in the water. But at least we had fun. At least it's like meaningful.
It was still
and
strong.
fun.
This was very, very strong. This ending was very, very strong. And another important thing that helped your win is that you had a finished product. Yours was finished and complete.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
we
guess
got
in
that
MMC that is pretty rare.
barely, but we needed every single minute to even get it there. And yeah, so this has been something we revisited after MMC. We spent another couple of weeks, getting everything hopefully tuned out. So hopefully we can
Not
release
nearly
high
at the
quality
same pace,
things.
though. It's probably like, I don't know, an extra 5 to 10 hours. It wasn't a crazy amount to like, all the bugs were low-hanging, obvious things that we just missed, basically. Yes. So we have two choices. I never expected people to do this, but when we started running people through it, they'd go revisit the Elder platform because they want to go look at the world, and it is the best vantage point to like see the scale of this chamber. It's big. So we can take a quick field trip over there if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Let's take
I want that region.
This way, follow my voice through the village. Speed run. Oh, thank you, Leica. That's such a nice note. Oh, goodbye.
It might have been exhaustion. I cried the first time when
Whoa.
we put together here.
They're multiplying! What? This has never happened before.
Bug testing. Oh my god, that's so funny.
We've run through this map like 15 plus times at post-release, and this has never happened. Alright, so if you you can start to get a sense of just how big this place is from here. And or if you want to jump on the tree.
This is everyone does this. I did not expect it, but
It's so good.
It's just
I'll make
one of
room.
the unknown challenges, like I was showing you the 2D normal map, I was like, how do I
Red.
put this many here? And ultimately, we took all the colliders
Yeah,
off
go
of these
for it.
guys and stamped them out by the millions, and then kept enough we could ship it. There are other tricks, like level of detail that you can do, where you have like different polygon count stuff depending how space it takes up that I would have turned to if this had fallen through. Or that trick with just, a 2D quad with a 3D normal baked into it. But these treetops were able to be stamped out in huge numbers without a big performance impact.
Megalore in his natural environment.
This snake.
Oh my god.
I just
There are
wanna-
so many.
I just want to read Twitch chat.
Holy shit.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can just-
It just keeps going. Huh. We're just gonna about it. Look at it, how much it keeps going.
Oh, how are those the handles for the zip line?
Yeah. I was gonna clean some up, but no, there's too many. Let's not think about it. We can take it back. It's so each side is its own thing. So the way back.
Okay.
Oh, we could climb the main tree here.
All right. Just be careful to only grab this side. Whee!
Here we go.
But during after about 30 seconds had passed, the tablet went badoop one more time, and it said manufacturing airlock open.
Yeah,
So there's... Let's go.
Secret. I can feel Dave's headless starting to struggle, so it's probably a good
I think it's all the zipline hand. I think at this point we're probably done with that zipline, so I'm just gonna kill it with fire.
Destroy.
I'm not sure, but it might be the zipline
It's a safe bet.
Could be anything.
Oh god, deleting that hurt.
Oh no.
Ouch. Okay, it's gone. Evil purged. Wow, my frames.
So much like for each handle that was deleted, we got a frame.
I'm so excited to figure out what the heck happened there.
Yeah.
That's one of the struggles of developing in Resonite, is that everyone has unfettered access to the game engine on their avatars and does things in all sorts of wacky ways, and you never know how that's going to interact with your stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Zipline. Yeah, let's go.
Zipline!
Zip.
Can I yeet myself there? No, I cannot.
I jumped too. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a good call out, Leica. I'm gonna have to look at that.
One last
The
trek
kind of
across
race conditions I
Hyrule
never
Field.
expected.
One last trek across Hyrule Field.
Oh, that's a
Zelda
good
64
throwback.
style.
Do we need to add an Epona in the next version of this map? Yeah, what are they adding mounts? You know, it's not really a game if you don't have mounts.
Exactly.
Yeah, my Resonite horse armor.
Oh, that's how we can monetize. We can sell mount armor.
There we go.
What would you price that at? Like $50?
You know, but based on inflation from the original
More?
horse armor, yeah, that sounds about right.
More? Yeah.
$500,000.
Subtle detail here, but like it's now lit up and there's god rays coming through the water, and you can now tell it's water.
Oh.
Oh,
that's pretty.
Nobody ever sees that because everyone's like, door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't blame them.
Manufacturing
Step
the
into the
texture has
light.
changed too.
It's kind of funny seeing a snake grab the zip wire by his mouth. Yes. It's hilarious.
The cycle. Descendants of lost Astrarium Corp workers emerge from new O2 module. Frankly, they seem even more confused than we are. And there's some cute stuff on the back. Bidding soars on cans of vintage pilk. Hundreds participate in circumferential frolic. Good time had by all. O'Neill citizens, breathe easy. Long-awaited module delivered. As the cylinder turns, dating in the space station era.
And then, yeah, welcome.
And
this is
welcome to the
kind
gift
of
shop.
our little museum. It's got examples of our initial sketch, which we largely kept pretty close to. You know, we drew this day one with kind of visions of Heights of Comfort and Firelink Shrine in our head to make an adventure with a central area that you kind of orbit around. You know, we've got the initial platform climbing up here, the tech room hidden off on the side, upper village platform, the journey originally into the depths of the redwood forest to visit the elder's house, kind of blocked off by monsters in the woods. And ultimately, all of these elements kind of were represented in our final design. Everything except like some castles in the forest and the monster that stalked the woods to get you if you traveled there on the forest floor.
Ooh. Yeah, there was actually originally some unseen Guga who would close in on you if you spent too long on the forest floor just to keep you out of there. Then it was a lot of making things for somewhere you weren't even supposed to be.
I got of my swamp.
Yeah, but there's an earlier version where you might be walking through terrain like this. This is where we started. And with the lights, this would be the final sequence. It actually has, for some reason, blue and red LED lights on this forest here. And that kind of fell by the wayside because the way that the spectacle of the end pulled together didn't need this. It confused it to put these grow lights in the mix.
Yeah.
Oh, Molly, do you have that picture? The last picture was taken.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, it can disappear before I manage to save it.
This one, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, we got lots of prototypes. We got like every time during the month I was at work and just thought of something, I would like sketch it down and then come home and model it up.
Ooh.
And so we've got that, for example, you guys pointed out the bubbles in the chamber. This is kind of the vision for that I initially had to work with. And then kind of our early Blender models here, you can see like, by contrast, I can pull out I redid this model in the voxel sculpting. And so you can kind of see the difference in how the terrain looks. Get some of this out. For example, the very much softer edges that you can do.
Yeah.
Because everywhere else, we had to keep that consistently, ultimately, but yeah.
What's a bit of a pain to do in Blender is soft edges.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was like,
right?
what? Just cutting holes in cylinders? That'll take like 10 minutes. Easy. 2 hours later. Turns out Boolean modifiers are hard.
Oh, they're bad.
But with voxels, it's really straightforward. And so like the complex contours of like making windows that's like it's a cylinder and it's kind of off center. And like this is actually a much more complex outline than you think when you really try to get down and model it. Maybe you can already see the kind of details one leaves behind in this ungrabbable. Yeah, so just compare like the contours, what you can do and like how less complex they can be when you can actually just like subtract shapes out of shapes very cleanly.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the proper
this
gift
is a
shop.
really-
Oh, sorry. I skipped ahead. Finishers.
Oh no, this is something in Sketchfab or like a Tinkercad actually I put together. Very initial style of I don't know, Stanley Kubrick-esque tech room. I think I like where we landed a lot better.
I feel like they need a Logitech control in here and put it on the water.
Yes. And what's important is they're still a peppermint flavored if you lick them.
Here's the proper gift shop with basically all the assets that Nix made for the world.
This is what the map is made out of, basically entirely. So you can take these home, remix them. What do we got? We had a one-hand control system, so people could like send the key down the zip line. We didn't quite implement it, but we do have a little mailbox here. If you'd like it, you can even actually you can actually drive this thing here. I designed it so you can. What do we got? There's my value gradient driver. So this thing even kind of like goes up and down. The door will open, so it's got some stuff set up for.
Yeah, so there is a
Fun
system
games.
in the world where if you toggle the one-handed mode checkbox, and it's supposed to automatically happen if you're in desktop, but I don't know if that happens right now. But there's a box next to the zip lines where you can drop key items and they'll appear on the other side of the zip line. Okay, good to know. I had to disable it temporarily because it was just showing up all the time, and yeah, I honestly should turn that back on for desktop for accessibility, because otherwise it's kind of hard to get the keycard across.
Be sure to check out this paper too, by the way. I think this is a really fun example of like what VR sculpting lets you do. Because it's very simple. I simply took like a quad, and with your hands you can zhuzh it just a little bit. Now that'd be kind of a nightmare in Blender, but it's absolutely instant in VR. So,
Whoops.
and that's one of the things you can kind of leverage with new sort of tools.
I dropped this on the table and it just.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's a grab surface. That's funny. And yeah, all this is kind of in chronological order how we went through. We got work in progress stuff, and
Flashy.
we've got all the different worlds we've done here. You can bring home your own Firefly. We got the wobbly guy, and we got the stuffy that you can take home. Take a little piece out of the dark with you.
And of course, the
And there's also
functional ones.
the little lights that you can bring home and then use these as an illumination source wherever.
Yeah, I assume these are in your public folders, yeah?
They actually aren't.
No. I have all those platters in my public. I don't think I actually have the Firefly in there, but I will soon. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I need to do one last optimization pass on it, I think, before we put it in the public, because one of the lights casts far further than you should in most worlds. It's necessary here because it's the only source of light.
And all of these have been studiously tailored to look really good in this world in particular, and they might not look great off the bat in other worlds. That's where you pop in the texture, change the tint, change the normal map intensity, just a couple sliders, and you can zhuzh it into looking good.
Yeah, because all the lighting in this world is very reddish yellow, and so we had to make sure the models looked good in that. So they're not built for normal, like, daylight blue light.
Yeah, but any other questions and comments, I guess, here at the end of our tour?
Yeah.
Amazing. You guys did so great.
Yeah,
Thank
it's very
you.
cool. I want to say, like, the moment that I saw, like, the dark woods kind of aspect, I very much got the Outer Wilds, especially the DLC kind of vibe
I
from
haven't
it with
played
the
the
lanterns
DLC
and...
yet. I beat the base
Yeah,
game. I
can you
haven't done the
send them to me over
DLC yet.
Discord?
Highly recommend it.
I've been thinking of
halfway
doing that,
through it.
like, in the next month or so.
Resonite
So I'm
even
not gonna
told
spoil
me
anything, I'm just gonna highly recommend
that they
it.
have over
Outer
16,000
Wilds has a very good
screenshots
VR
on their
mod as
computer.
well. I'd really recommend
yes,
anyone
that's
consider
right.
playing.
Highly
It's actually a
recommend that
AAA
mod.
quality
I'm gonna try
VR
that for
mod.
the...
Yeah, Repic, I think, is the one that made it. Yeah, he's very good. He was yeah, mod is super good. Probably the best.
Yeah, I mean,
VR
the soul of this is
conversion I've
also.
seen.
Yeah, we're both
Better than
big Outer
many
Wilds
AAAs.
fans, and you know, I grew up on kind of like Sierra adventure games and things like that, which I really think is in the
Oh,
DNA
yeah.
of this too. The kind of like not super hand holding, not super spelled out, a little bit directionless, and just kind of, yeah, I don't know, exploring the space. Which I
Yeah.
think Outer Wilds is another like great modern example of that lineage.
Yeah.
Nice. I think someone
All right,
described...
any other-
I think that's one of the ways I describe Dark Souls that I really like about it and why its storytelling captivates me so much is that it isn't about you. Like, the world has so many stories going on and characters, things that have happened, and they're not catered to you. You're like just a little guy walking through a land built for giants.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a cool storytelling method.
Yeah, I really like what you did with the like environmental story problem solving with like the burning the bridges of the rope and getting the taking the thing to a higher place. It gives you, it doesn't say exactly, oh, go to there and do that. No, it says, oh, signal low, and you can see on the antenna the intention that they're trying to get a better signal, but you're like, okay, I gotta get higher physically. There's nothing I can do with it in here because they have already tried it, obviously.
True, yeah.
Like, yeah. Very good.
Technically, it would have been really bad for them to open that door right then anyway.
No.
They would have died. There's one keyword. I guess that is the time to give spoilers. This is the director's tour.
At the end of it, yeah.
So there's a keyword there in that room where it says airlock sealed during flight. So this kind of gave it away too. The newspaper, we added that in the definitive edition as like a resounding note to close off the story. The world is an O2 module being delivered to a space station. So it was built and shipped across space, and it took like 100 years to get there. And the people who wrote all the notes were trapped inside and realized, well, we're not going to make it, but our kids and our kids' kids might, so we're just going to set up civilization. So they couldn't have opened the doors. They were in space and would have just gotten sucked out an airlock.
Okay, so it was way past. Okay, I thought, okay. Yeah.
If you look really close, I accidentally included this. There's a tiny little space truck right here with like ostensibly our world inside of it. You know, this is why I say there's a real Douglas Adams, Terry Pratchett under the surface, because, you know, it's kind of like a comic tragedy. Like the cleaning crew got locked in and now they're on this journey. And so, yeah, I guess
Nick thought about doing an
nobody else
Easter
knows that
egg
this
where
little
if you
guy
like flew
stood in
outside
there.
the map, you'd be inside a big space truck, like holding the world. And I thought it was funny, but A, scope creep, B, scope creep, and C, maybe a little too like giving it away on the nose.
I mean, you have to literally fly out of the map. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. So
It was
Yeah,
mostly the
and there
scope
was
creep.
again just no time. We used every second we had at our disposal. We needed so many more.
Sandwich.
By the way, you mentioned about Resonite having a maximum render distance. There is a workaround for it, but it's a little weird and is dependent on the avatar itself. You know the render settings component?
Yeah, you can set your own far clip, but you can't force someone to do that.
You can kind of, because you can put the component on them, put them out of the avatar, and put them back in again, and then it will work. But
I'm not doing
doesn't work
that.
forever. Nah, it's unreliable. It depends on if they have it on already, and you can't just apply far settings with just an impulse to user that doesn't work. So I know, but still.
Yeah,
If you're in the world, and rarely does anyone ever make a world where you have a avatar specific that made
the
it
voices.
work, but
The voices.
I just thought I'd mention.
Yeah, thank you. That might be worth like a feature request to ask. Like, there are a lot of world settings where you can override avatar or user settings for the experience of the world, and I think far clip would be a very reasonable one to ask for.
Yeah, far clip. Or
I think it's probably a good time to say goodbye to the Twitch stream. Our camera crew is starting to wind down a bit. Yeah.
Thank you so
That's
much, Dave
fair.
and Heath.
Think
You
us
guys
too.
are amazing. Thank you for helping us show off. Thank you, everyone who came along with us on this journey. I'm so happy to have all of you.
That was wonderful.
Large black AFK orb at the moment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for presenting all of this work, you guys. Like, we really do appreciate it. It's so cool.
Oh, it was a joy.
It doesn't feel like
Thanks
work.
for inviting
It's
us and
fun.
just facilitating it all. It's just great.
There you
Again, shout out to
everyone who
Dave
was
for
make
being
cool
our
things and
camera.
share
Shout
them.
out to Twitch for showing up. We appreciate you.
Yeah, shout out to Twitch and all the raiders and everything. Yeah. Woo!
And for everyone who showed up. Yes, huh? Oh, right.
And Sticks for
yeah,
moderating!
no problem.
Yeah,
Yay!
thank you.
And Odie for being super cute all the time. Aw.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, true.
And Red Dragon for being behind the scenes wizard. Let's just say that. Call out there. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I'm going to head out myself here.
Yeah, I am
All right.
very, very hungry.
Yeah.